I see the red light, which means we are live. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? To celebrate the NBA draft that's coming up this Thursday, as of the recording of this podcast, we will be doing our own draft / brand swap between AEW and WWE. That's right. We're going to trade 5 superstars each from WWE to go to AEW, 5 superstars from AEW to head over to WWE, as well as so much more, including the Bloodline finally coming to an end. But listen, stick tuned. All that.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh yeah.
Let me do this right. Woo!
Nope, I'm still here.
And he went out.
Oh, buddy.
Yo,
check that out.
Yo, I put a lot into that woo.
You definitely did. You wooed him out of Wi-Fi. That's what you did.
Bro, hold on. Did I miss the woo? Did I miss the woo?
Oh, he had. That was
Okay,
right
hold on. Here we go.
Run it back. Run it back.
Here we go. Matter
I
of
think that might
fact,
be the biggest one.
was that? How long was I gone?
Oh, enough for
you
you
missed
to see. You missed his woo.
I missed the woo. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm NOW podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch all of our Wrestling Wrealm content anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm. I am your host, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen. He is your host, Brian H. The heel, Hollywood H. Waters is back in the building. He is your host, Brandon the Guy, conspicuous by his absence, has the third H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R, to the D. You can follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Wrestling Wrealm. Like, subscribe, and engage in the conversation with us. You can stream and download all of our audio content on Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. You can watch and subscribe to our Twitch channel at the Wrestling Wrealm. Like how I did that? If you want to support the Wrestling Wrealm, head over to WrestlingWrealm.com. That's right. You can shop all of our merchandise over at WrestlingWrealm.com. T-shirts, hoodies, mugs. You want to support the brand? Head over to WrestlingWrealm.com. If you're confused about what we have over there, you can get this right here. That's right. The Jack Daddy himself, Brian H. Waters' new T-shirt. Head over to WrestlingWrealm.com if you want to support the Jack Daddy as well as our new merchandise, reminiscent to the original Monday Night Raw logo. So there you have it. WrestlingWrealm.com for all of our merchandise. Also, subscribe to our Patreon channel. That's right. Patreon.com/wrestling_realm for all exclusive shows and bonus material. We write, we post, we tell stories that we can't say on the air. You can subscribe for just as low as $1. But yes, head over to patreon.com/wrestling_realm. Also, if you are looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com, where you can use promo code Wrestling Wrealm to save yourself $20 on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's right. If you have never purchased tickets using the promo code Wrestling Wrealm, you can head over to SeatGeek.com and use our promo code for anything. Any purchase, $50 or more, $20 off. And like I said, ticket prices are going sky high. We got a lot of events coming up. So if you're going to spend more than $50 or more, the promo code Wrestling Wrealm is for you. Save yourself $20 off at SeatGeek.com. Brothers. We are back and we are in the building.
Yes, sir.
And guess what? Somebody just had a show yesterday, Brother Guy, the Belt King himself, Brandon the Guy. Look at that. Let's see that right there. He had it ready. He had it on deck.
Why did Jeff Jarrett's music just play in my ear? Not literally, but just like figuratively. Just, I don't know. Maybe because I felt like he's supposed to be strumming like a guitar.
Now what music are we referring to? We talking about early Jeff Jarrett, or we talking attitude?
Not the
Jeff
one
Jarrett?
that you love. Early Jeff Jarrett.
Okay, because I like that. That ain't not great music.
Yeah.
But good brothers. Welcome back, Brother Brandon. You had a show yesterday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yesterday on the Wrestling Wrealm Presents Championship Culture, I discussed who wore this iteration of the title better. Now, I know a lot of people like to say, like you just said, Jeff Jarrett is somebody that comes to mind with the first version of his belt, but I'm talking about when Cody Rhodes debuted this belt at Hell in a Cell. So I talked about this belt. I gave the story behind why I had this belt, and even so, as you can see, there's a signature on there. There's a story behind that signature. So go over when you finish watching the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast tonight. Go back and watch the latest episode of Championship Culture where I talk about who wore this version of the belt better. This version, not actually this belt, but this version of the belt. But don't worry, there's a part 2 coming sooner than later, and we're going to talk about all the versions of the IC belt because I don't know if you know this or not. I don't know if you know this, brothers. I have 6 versions of the IC belt, so I think it's time for us to have a discussion about the IC belt. Yeah, they're on this side. But yeah,
I didn't realize you had 6 of them. I think yes. I got an idea, but I'm afraid to tell you. Should I say it? Should I say it? I got an idea.
You pin him for the belt. You pin him and beat everybody.
Give me the belt. Beat everybody.
That's what Carlos said. Carlos said, "What if I start defending them?" But we shall see. I think there's going to be a. I know there will be a IC. I don't want to say a version because it's not really that. It's let's talk about the IC title because with its rich history, like you just said, everybody that white belt you think about Jeff Jarrett, yellow belt you think about somebody different. So every belt has a story. So I think it's going to be a whole thing about that.
Wonderful. So if you want to check out Championship Culture, head over to youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm. Do we have a playlist set already for you, Brother Brandon, for Championship Culture on the YouTube channel?
Yes, sir. I believe Brian H. Porter set that up, and you can go and watch all of the episodes of Championship Culture right on our YouTube channel. You go right to
8 of them bad boys. Let me make sure they all in there. Wow.
Yeah, so we have a playlist set just for you for Championship Culture on youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm. Now I got a feeling right now for those who are listening, Brandon's about to do something to troll me.
No, not at all.
Is that a do you have a belt? Do you have a belt reveal?
No, that's just I had to put my other tag team belt inside of the bag because I thought somebody was coming to get it because they was talking all this stuff last week.
I was
about they were coming to get it. So I at least put it in a bag for them.
Oh, okay. See, that's like putting a bag over the head of a hostage in a hostage situation. That's what it seems like.
I just got it ready for you. It's clean.
No, okay. Well, listen, you could have left it. You could have left it where it was, but you had to go out of your way to post it right there in front of the camera for tonight's show. You know what?
Yeah, it's a Hugh version.
Duly appreciate it.
Version of Hugh's belt, and right next to version 2 of
version 2.
Why does it look like you got it blacked out like it's a funeral,
bro? That's what I said.
It's just ready to go. It's ready to go.
He said it's packed up, ready to go.
Yeah, I'm just waiting.
Brothers, we have a lot to get into tonight. But listen, before we get started, man, we gotta welcome back Brian H the correct way, because I don't know what better way to do it. Brian H back in the building. Yeah. Look. Even the Belt King pulled out the appropriate title. Brian H, welcome back to the show. You were on the road last week. You had to take care of some things, but it's good to have you back, brother.
Thank you.
We had to cue you in the correct way. Like we had to intro you in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, brothers, let's get this show started. Now we have a lot to talk about today. There's a lot of things that's happened since the last time we all spoke on the show. And that's what today's show is pretty much going to be about. We have to get into Black Wrestling. He has notes. Black Wrestling Podcast Top 50 came out.
Yeah, shout out to Brother Fam in the chat.
Yeah, he's here ready to go. We're going to discuss it. And I'll let Brian Ace explain to everyone. Matter of fact, just do it now. Black Wrestling Podcast Top 50. Let the world know exactly what it is, why it's important, and the significance of it to the culture.
Well, first and foremost, want to give a shout out to the Black Wrestling crew over there. You got Mimi. Start with the ladies first. You got Mimi. Then you got the founding fathers being Cal, Math, and Fam, and of course Drip. If you've been following him for the past ever since 2020, they come on here on Wrestling for the Culture. We actually got to get that schedule everybody been just lifing. But we gotta get that scheduled for this year. But they come on Wrestling for the Culture to talk about it. And then last year they collaborated with Trey D from We Love Wrestling to bring together and spotlight the top 50 Black wrestlers. And one of the things I asked about in the beginning when we first started doing this, I said, do y'all ever like plan to like increase the list? And they said, no, you want to keep it at 50. They want to make sure, you highlight everybody. It's not, and of course, there's always controversy. If you go back and listen to classic episodes, there are a couple of bleeps in there.
Remember.
Yeah, because people don't want to be named and stuff. So, they have permanent numbers like number 51 and number 52, and they just leave it at that. But the best thing, the thing I love about this list is you get to find out like who's up next, right? And, you find out about certain wrestlers you may not have heard about. And
right.
I want to give, Brother Math a special shout out. And, we talked about this on previous episodes of Wrestling for the Culture. He puts a lot of time in, without giving away the secret, but it's not just, let me just find 50 Black wrestlers. He's been scouting, like he's already working on the next one. Like he is constantly watching everybody. And that's the part I like. If you follow their social media channels throughout the year, you'll see people highlight it. Been a few times where I see stuff at a show and like, hey, y'all see this person, this, that, the other. And even last year, like Darius Carter made number 15. And last year, Jobber Slam, we was got the chance to see him in person, and you just see like everybody just being locked in. So it's the top 10 has not come out yet. If Brother Fam's still in the chat, I'm gonna make an assumption that's coming out on their show tomorrow night. I could be wrong, but make sure you check that out. Also, shout out to them. I got a chance to do the video for the BRP 50 with the wrestlers that's on their Twitter and Instagram page. So check that out. Just paying homage to some of the wrestlers. I see Pure Ignorance in the build. I'm pretty sure that is Chaz the Don. Said he don't like number 50. If you don't know, number 50 is who I'm probably wearing a shirt of. Little bro Jay Bougie. I want him and my other little bro Chaz to get their match so they can settle like men. I'm gonna stay out of it and I'm gonna just sit back and enjoy it. And then everybody can.
Bro, you see him right now, dude. Like,
but as Bougie says, this is.
Eddie has a hanger for you.
Wow,
so considerate, isn't he?
Yeah,
so considerate.
But yes, I'm excited that we get ready to talk about this list because it's very interesting, and we can jump right into that, I guess.
All right, so you have the top 50 of the Black Wrestling Podcast, and of course, it's obvious that it's very important to our culture that we highlight those Black superstars. That's one of the conversations that we've had tirelessly over the years, and we've been blessed that things have progressed in our day where we've been able to have regular Black WWE champions and world champions across the board, men, women, across all types of promotions. And, most recently with, of course, obvious Kofi Kingston, and then followed up by Big E Langston. Yes, I call him Big E Langston on purpose, right? So what do you think about what it takes to kind of make a list like this? Now, I'm asking you that already is because, me, I'm hard on Black superstars, especially the ones that could potentially be world champions. It's like I'm that dad that's trying to raise a child. It's like first of all, I'm a fan. Like, what the heck do I know? But I'm like, no, I know what I'm looking for in a world champion. And like I said, the blueprint to me is there. It's got to be Booker T or higher. That's the level I'm looking for. And we got that with Kofi, we got that with Big E. So it's like, and we got it with was Bobby Lashley? Bobby Lashley. I don't know why I drew a blank because I'm too busy looking at this World Heavyweight Championship and Bobby Lashley.
Got you.
So so that's why I'm like, that's the standard that I'm looking for. So you're always looking for the next guy, the next one to say, okay. And of course, we got it with Bianca. Bianca did an excellent job as Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, and just her whole tenure. And like she went from being, at one point we were talking about the 4 Horsewomen, and we were like, they got to start creating new stars. And I remember she was one of the first ones that they decided to go with, her and Rhea and a number of other ladies that kind of got into the mix. And they're like, okay, we got to create more dance partners. Liv Morgan's, and of course, Alexa Bliss was always in the mix. But to have her, kind of represent for the culture has been excellent. But what do you think about this top 50 list so far that we've looked at? We know that the top 10 hasn't been revealed just yet, but did they get it right for the most part? I know there's probably a few unfamiliar names, but I mean, these are they're not that unfamiliar. You know what I mean? These are names that we've seen, through and throughout social media and through video clips and so on and such.
When I looked at the list, I thought everything was pretty much spot on. I didn't have any I didn't have any complaints. Usually, from what I remember last year, the complaints usually come out, especially when it's the top 5, or even the top 10. They did a contest last year via Twitter Spaces, and I was able to nail the top 5, and shout out to the Wrestling Club. So that's where I sent my donation to.
Nice.
But I'm sitting here looking at this, man, and I'm looking at the type of years a lot of wrestlers have. So, for instance, right, people may say, well, why is Trisha Dora at 45? She's the Pan-African world champion versus a Shalance Royale who's 41. And I agree with that, because what I saw with Shalance was she was OVW champion and for 300 days. And that's one of those, I want to use the word classic, but one of those, older promotions that a lot of people may not realize still around. And so for her to hold on to that, I think, I thought that was a big deal. But even with the tag teams is always interesting. You got Montez Ford at 17 and Angelo Dawkins is at 28. But if you look at it, like, Montez definitely put on, like, he had a lot of moments, but he also had a lot of key wins that, like, for instance, to get into the Elimination Chamber. So I could see there being, kind of a discrepancy right there versus like the Renegade Twins being 26 and 27. Well, they wrestled together pretty much 90% of the time. So that made sense.
Yeah, Brandon, let me ask you a question in regards to this list. Does the placing or the promotion affect how you as a fan view the top 50 as far as Black superstars or superstars of color in this case? Does it make a difference? Like to Brandon's point, you got a Montez Ford at, like you said, 17. It's like, but like Brandon said, when you look at kind of, I forgot about that Elimination Chamber spot he was in, but I was like, you know what, he's doing really well for himself as a superstar, right? And I say that's because he's not locked into being a tag team. He does tag team stuff. He's done singles things, and he kind of almost had like a mini singles run. If correct me if I'm wrong, but does the promotion itself carry more weight for you personally? Does that affect this list in any way based off, okay, well, he's in WWE, so of course he's got a bigger platform, bigger audience, versus somebody that's in an independent promotion or a global promotion that's not WWE or AEW and doesn't have as big a stage, but you feel like they should be ranked a little bit higher than someone that may be in WWE, like a Montez Ford or Angelo Dawkins?
So for me, it's kind of, I get where you're coming from, but it kind of made me pay attention to the names surrounding them. So, like, for instance, I thought Chris Bay would have been higher than what he was.
Really?
He was 20. Yeah, I thought he would have been at least closer to the top 10, if not within the top 10, only because
he's had a good year.
He continues to improve. And does he improve because of the Bullet Club stuff, or does he improve because now he's being showcased? I really don't know, because I'm paying more attention to him now. But then Alex Cade, I have no idea who that was, but now I'm starting to do some research on him. But I'm paying attention to his name because he's right there next to Dante Martin. We know what Dante Martin can do, but clearly for him to be somebody close to him, I think it helps. But when it comes to the WWE guys, I think we all get in that mind frame that, oh, they got to be top 10, top 5, top whatever, because they have the biggest platform. And we forget about the guys busting it on the indie scene or doing the same thing without the machine behind them. So I actually think it's a good thing when it's a mix in there. I would feel some kind of way if it was only indie stars in the top 10. I would feel some way if it was only Impact or only AEW. Because even so, look at the 3, wasn't the Acclaim and Jay Cargill all in the same group?
Yeah.
And I kind of glazed over because I was like, okay, next set. I was just like, all right, them 3 together.
Right, yeah.
Could one be higher than the other? No, but because they're a tag team, I really don't know if they're in the right spot, or it could have been, would it made me pay attention to something else, but I glazed over it. So I think it's a good list because it makes you pay attention. Like Trey Miguel, I thought he would have been hired, and I'm not an Impact guy, but I'm just saying I thought Trey, because he's been, once he got the X Division belt, it was like he is the X Division. He's been on anybody. He can't. I shouldn't say it. I'm gonna say my bias. I haven't seen a bad match from him, but that doesn't go to say that anybody else. Darius Carter doesn't have a bad match. I don't know for sure. You get what I'm saying? But because they're so close together in the name, it's going to make me pay attention to it.
Hey, did you see this right here, Brother Brandon? From Fam?
I was waiting for you to put it up on the screen. And
there it is.
I threw it up there earlier.
My bad. Sorry, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. No, definitely run it back.
That and my mind started going, and I'm like, BA_guy on Twitter, or custom guy 913 on Instagram. Let's get that going because we'll love
Brother Fam, he's designing the belt in his head right now.
Big time.
Little did he know.
Yeah. Brother Fam Logan.
Little did he know.
Yeah, trust me, that's something that's very possible, especially with the guy in the building, the belt king himself.
I already got like 5 designs. I'm waiting for her to see if she had something in mind, but I don't know. Thinking about some stuff, and it's crazy because I'm gonna wait for Stephanie to hit me back and let me know what she want to do. But yep, we can definitely make that happen.
It's a couple of things I want to touch on what you were saying on the list, right? The thing is, like, Brandon, you mentioned Alex Kane. I've been like following him a lot in MLW and just like seeing the work what he's been doing. So like his number, I was like, oh yeah, definitely. Like, he's been putting on some good matches. I also want to give a shout out to somebody else who's been on the program, Jabari from NAW, Nation of African American Wrestling. Because like between there and like, like I said, just all of our pages, right? All of our Black content creators, we've done a wonderful job as far as elevating the visibility of the Black wrestler, and that's one of the things that, we meet people at Wale Mania, that's one of the things that I heard a lot, so this, you hear that the wrestlers themselves are grateful. And, just looking at another thing that I wanted to bring up, because you talked about the placement and sometimes different locations hold weight, right?
Right.
So like I'm obviously, I'm sitting up there. I saw Bougie at 50. I'm like, we higher. But then I was like, okay, he got championships. All right. So now you on these level promotions. So now the goal next year is to go here. Like last year, I'll put this out there. Last year we talked about it. It's like, okay, this is the goals. BRP 50. When we sat there, we looked over everything as far as like, just talking about his career. Is like, all right, BRP 50. That's the goal.
Right.
And shout out to them. They also do the after the 50, and that's another place. Just watching, because that's where he was. Even the now retired Amber Rodriguez was on the after 50, and that was the goal, obviously. But then she retired. Shout out to her though. But it's always good to be able to see just how like the wrestlers respond. Last year, right when we was doing Wrestling for the Culture, Booker T had replied and quote tweeted one of the tweets. And we pulled it up on the screen because we was recording. Everybody hadn't seen it yet, so you see like it's making its waves. Stack Guy Greg mentioned it today yesterday on Cheap Heat. So it's very good to see this, and it's always fun to just sit back and talk about it, dissect it. Ain't nobody taking nothing personal.
No, it's yeah, man. What and I think the biggest thing is that it's what it shows us is credible. I think everything that Black Wrestling Podcast does is very on par, very professional.
They still waiting to see you. If Brother Fam has said it, he think you just on the screen. Like
you,
I
might be a hologram. I might be forward thinking of AI. And they say create a tall wrestling fan. So
I told you that's not the first time we heard that.
I made my first public appearance at Black Wrestle Fest last year, and it was a smash. But don't worry, I'm sure people will run into me sooner rather than later. But yeah, like I said, it's credible, and I think that's the biggest thing. So definitely shout out to Black Wrestling Podcast. Please follow them wherever you can find them. Look at that. So you definitely have to. I'm telling you, I'm just completely digital.
I've been paying attention to Twitter more in the last probably day or so than I ever have, because I'm like, all right, what's the next set of numbers? What's the next set? I keep looking for the numbers. I'm like, come on now, come on with it.
It's been fun.
I feel like I'm like this. Did I miss it? Okay.
I was doing the same thing. Wait a minute, let me check. Like, wait, hold on, time out. And I was mad. I was like, oh shoot, they're done. I gotta wait till tomorrow. But,
yeah, I was like, oh come on, I need more.
But real quick before we move on, because we still have to get into what we watched this week, and we got some things we got to cover. Before we get into the meat potatoes of the show, but is there anybody on that list that stood out to you for any particular reason? You may have mentioned it already, but is there anybody else that you say, I see this guy going here next year, or I see this guy having a bright future, or this girl, she's this, she's that, or whatever? Does anybody goes, you know what? This kind of struck me and caught my attention. I have a guy in mind. I'm telling you right now. Like, the realness has a guy.
Oh boy, I'm waiting for that one.
Listen to me. I've been listen to me. I've been watching him for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I am thoroughly impressed with him. He's another guy that I'm looking for him to have some dance partners. Like I need him to have like a solid rivalry like this year. But I'm telling you, this dude is on my radar. Like, yo, he might be the one. But I'm gonna ask everybody else.
Idea who you gonna say?
Should I ask you now? Like, let's just, because like we've been breaking rules lately. Like, we broke a lot of rules last week. Please tell me you didn't watch the last week's show.
I ain't finished it yet, but
good, because we just all over the place.
It was randomness. It was shenanigans in this.
It was, and then we had the after show on the show when we were supposed to be after the show, but neither here nor there. But who do you think? Let me ask you this, Brian H. I'm gonna ask you first. I'm not gonna verify. I want you to. Do you want to go first, Brian H? Let me ask you that.
So we can, because I actually think we might have the same person. Okay, I'm not gonna feel dumb if we wrong.
No, it's not gonna make a difference. I kind
of feel like we might have the same person for some odd reason.
Okay, brother Brandon, do you have somebody in mind that kind of stands out to you? And if you don't, that's fine too. But I'm just curious to see if somebody.
No, I was happy to see the mix. When I say the mixture, because it put my eyes to a lot of wrestlers I didn't know, but it put a lot of people on my radar too.
I've always been a fan of Chris Bay, like I said, because I used to watch his belt reviews years ago. I'm telling you, 2009-10, he was one of the only guys that were doing belt reviews. So it's crazy when I was like, that's the kid. He used to be a kid in the kitchen with a low budget handycam like us. And he was doing belt reviews. But I've always liked Chris Bay. Like I called him Swerve Jr. for the longest time, but he's earned his own name now.
He finally broke out of that show,
and that's the part that I'm so proud about. He kind of came into his own.
And I didn't realize that him and Ace Austin were doing as much as they were.
Yeah, they tag champs.
And I'm like, oh, and that's why I think his stock is rising. Yep. But I think that he might outgrow Impact because they're so good as a tag team.
The new gen Bullet Club guys. That's what I call these guys. The new gen Bullet Club guys. But yeah. But who do you have in mind? Like, I'm curious to see what he's going to say. I'm telling you, I got a guy in my head. I'm telling you.
That's interesting. You got a pen and paper?
Do I have a pen and paper? I do.
Yeah. I
like that. Shout out to Dylan.
No. Shout out to Dylan's a part of our show. He's here from freaking Australia. We appreciate you, brother. Dylan's always the first one waiting for us. Here we go. We're gonna write down the superstar from BP BRP's top 50. Right, and we're choosing one superstar on this list that said, you know what, this person stood out to me the most, and for whatever reason, I have somebody in mind. I'm writing it down. Here we go. So we're gonna put it on the screen. So if you're not watching, you're listening. We're about to reveal. So how are we gonna do this? We're gonna do this at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
I'll count it down from 3, 2, 1. Who do you have?
Go.
I knew it.
I was thinking that,
bro,
because he keeps being around. He just keeps being around. He keeps being around. He definitely. I should have wrote that name down.
I think I spelled his name wrong.
No, I knew exactly. He definitely he's been around, and he's been a staple.
Bro, I was waiting to see where he fell on this list, and he fell at 21, and I was like, okay, all right, like, but listen to me,
almost in that top 20.
He might be the one. I'm telling you. Like he's in AEW now. He's Ring of Honor. I believe he's part of the 6-man tag team championship. But I'm telling you, if there's ever a guy that I feel like, I mean, he has everything. And I watch his. When I first saw him, when he first got signed to AEW / Ring of Honor, that whole situation, I went back and I started watching his stuff like more and more. Like I've always knew who he was. I said, let me go watch his stuff. And man, he's a guy that has my attention. I think like if played the correct way, if he can find his voice in who Khan is, like I feel like that's still trying to be defined, but it's no different than it was when Jay White was trying to figure it out years ago. And look at him now. You know what I mean? It's like, man,
give him a mic.
I want to see who this guy really is. And I just think he has a huge upside though. But yeah, Khan is the guy I got my eyes on. So, but it's funny because
I was say, do you remember the Sons of Savagery?
Yes, I do. Yep.
And you know, shout out to Moses. Watching them, it was, you know, in 2018, you could see like the potential. And then when they went to Ring of Honor, like I want to say that was Best in the World 2019. Yeah, and you saw like, okay, they got something. And then when he was with Shane Taylor Promotions.
Yep, I remember that. Yep.
And that's when they were a 6-man tag. He didn't come to NCW that time. I think he had another obligation. But he didn't come, and they had what you call a sub in form.
Yeah, and the thing is, when I like just watching his evolution, because sometimes when you get out of a tag team, you kind of get typecasted. You kind of look lost. But you know, you can see like he just totally been like just put. You know, he's found his own identity. That's the word I'm looking for. As far as outside of Shane Taylor Promotions, outside of the Sons of Savagery. And now I'm interested in seeing where he goes next. You know what I mean? But I definitely think he's gonna be a star. He's River City World Champion as of 89 days ago, and you know, still ROH 6-man tag team champion. So, but I think he's gonna be a star. We was trying to get him on here. We're gonna try again. You know, but and you know, and just like obviously I watched this match with Jay Bougie, and man, that was like just watching those two, and you know, him being, you could see like him being the vet, you know, just leading, and then you know, Bougie staying with him, and then just the respect, and even even Caprice Coleman, you know, just had obviously a lot of like high praise for that match. So I like his look a lot. You know, it was a time. I will say I didn't like one time he was wrestling on AEW Dark or one of them AEW shows. He was wrestling Adam Cole just because like I didn't want to know he was going to lose. You know what I mean? And that was always my issue with AEW Dark. Like I appreciate what they do as far as the wrestlers getting a paycheck, but I would rather see indie wrestler versus indie wrestler on like Dark Elevation where I don't know who's going to win.
Right.
You know, that's all.
No, that makes sense.
That was my issue.
I watched his match with at Texas Wrestling Cartel TWC with Matt Cardona. You know, that's my guy. You know, good old Zachy boy. But that was the thing that said, okay, let me see how he stands up with a veteran like Matt Cardona. You know, he's a WWE guy through, although he's officially king of the Indies at this point. And I was impressed. I still wanted to see more from him, and so he has a lot to go. He's shy, you know what I mean? But man, if you can bring that personality out of him, man, I think he has a bright future. So once again, like I said, shout out to the Black Wrestling Podcast. We can sit there and talk about this list all day. But like I said, we want to keep everybody here for too long. We have a lot to get into. But I didn't get a chance to ask you guys, what did you watch this week? Hold on, let me hit the thing. Here it is. Bam.
Playing by the rules.
You know, what did you watch this week? Brian H.
So I can't count Championship Culture. Great episode.
I mean, why not? Why not?
You know, but also Dark Side of the Ring, Doink the Clown. Now,
oh man, yo, my cousin, man, my man Fonzarelli was like, bro,
Fonz,
Fonzarelli,
that's my guy.
Yeah, I was like, yo, oh man,
bro, like, you know, 93 was like, you know, a lot of memories. Obviously, WrestleMania 9, but the whole thing with Doink the Clown that was interesting is them bringing in an evil clown. I remember like not liking that dude, especially when he was like tricking Crush and he had like the fake arm and then he took the arm off. And that was the first time it's like, and you know whose commentary is so underrated and you learn, you hear in the playbacks? Vince McMahon's.
Oh,
because he's like, oh, come on now, all that stuff. So
he definitely played, like, if you look, like Vince's 90s commentary really played into the product. It really fit for the time.
Exactly.
For us kids,
he was the voice of that wrestler at the time.
No, he was, because and you think about how we watched it as kids. His voice was the soundtrack that helped fueled the belief of what we were watching. So
yeah. So yeah, I was definitely watching that last night, Dark Side of the Ring. Unfortunately, tragedy would get him, but you think back to like just one of those memorable people. He was on the WWF Raw video game, and y'all remember, and WrestleMania Arcade. And for people who didn't grow up playing 90s video games, everybody didn't make the game. It was literally like 6 to 8, maybe 12 people. That was it. So that right there,
arcade game too. Remember?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, WrestleMania arcade game. But like I said, everybody didn't make it. So you had to be like sort of like a character that was either a main eventer or somebody that stood out, and that's one of the things he did.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Brother Brandon? What'd you get into this week, sir?
So get ready for this.
Uh-oh.
I watched Collision.
Okay, I got that on my list. So since you brought it up, I'm going to segue and just let you take the segment. CM Punk returned this Saturday.
No, scratch it. Keep going.
I want you to tell me, was it worth it? Because you watched Collision. I'm sure Brian, did you get a chance to watch Collision or watch some version of it?
Yeah, I watched. I had it on when you called me.
Oh shoot, I'm tripping. You where was I at exactly?
It was Father's Day. Shout out to the real Dwayne. See, some people just send you like Father's Day text, and it's always great. But the brother right here is like, I'm gonna give you a call, FaceTime a call. It was good. It was a great moment. That's
right, because I called you that Sunday and you were catching up on it. But Brother Brandon, you watched Collision. First of all, what did you think of WCW Monday night? AEW Collision and CM Punk's return. Now, you don't have to talk directly about CM Punk's return, but he was supposed to be the catch of this show. Was it well worth the wait? Did you get your bang for your buck? AEW Collision.
You asking the guy.
That's why I asked him on purpose. He's going to carry the segment. I'm just going to let him do his thing. He's trying to be
Collision overall, I want to give it a 10 out of 10.
You want to.
Because Tony Khan shows that he can give you these great moments. And I'm not doubting that. He can put on some great matches, some good moments, but there's nothing to follow through with it.
That's the part that gets us every time.
Yep. I don't care. When you have Andrade, El Idolo, and Buddy Matthews wrestle, you're going to be glued to the screen.
Sure.
Miro comes back. You put him in a ring with anybody. Miro's at that stage now. You want to see him do something. So overall, from start to finish, it wasn't a dull moment. Even with like some of the women's segments that you think would taper off, I didn't mind them. I just wanted more. I'm looking for that, and this is overall in wrestling. I'm looking for a balance of, and I think Raw and SmackDown are doing a good job. I try to balance the men and women's wrestling now because it's becoming just good wrestling. And it's crazy because the low point, the reason I can't give it a 10 out of 10 is the main event. I felt like the main event it didn't live up to this hype. And I keep saying it. How many more wrestlers got to carry CM Punk in the ring? And
oh boy, wait till we get to these lists.
And his promo was, oh, look at me. Tony Khan, he did exactly what Adam Cole said WWE was doing. I mean, NXT did for Karrion Kross. Tony Khan did that for CM Punk. He put him in the right stage. He put him with the right people at the right time for him to say something to get us riled up. And like his backward shots, I don't think there's any truth behind it. We're going to probably see 10 years from now on the dark side of the ring, the real story of All Out, Brawl Out. You know what I mean? But
remember they made it? Somebody made it. They made a parody of it.
But you get what I'm saying? Like, and then his promo, and I know I watched CM Punk probably different than other people, and I tried to watch it objectively. Yeah, his little one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his little one-liners didn't really Sting, they felt like they were expected. It was safe. It was
like
a safe bet.
CM Punk-ish.
Yeah. And I'm like, if you're going to say it, just rip off the Band-Aid and say what you got to say or have it grounded. And it was like, and one of the highlights of the show, and go back, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch when Luchasaurus won, what Christian Cage did. That was the best part. That had me laughing. I said, it's just perfect what he did. I said, I'd expected it. You would think that Christian won the title. How he celebrating. But
you know what that was a throwback to? Remember when Edge won King of the Ring? And Christian was walking around with the trophy?
Yes, he was.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was. He definitely did. But and I just want to say the promo I feel like the promo it lived up to the hype because it's what I expected from CM Punk in Chicago. And then he made that, I'm sorry that I'm not as soft as the wrestlers that you like. I'm like, dude, you can only say that in Chicago because you got people loving you. You say that in any other city, you're going to get booed out the building.
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm a counterfeit buck. I'm like, oh, really? What writer wrote that little cute line for you? Like, come on now, give us something.
Off the cuff.
Yeah, give us something, Triple H and you have
one
better
Bill
promos.
One Bill Phil?
Yeah, one Bill. Yeah, in Chicago. Yes, in Chicago, absolutely. But put him in New York, New Jersey, California. Put him in Texas. Put him somewhere else besides Chicago and put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, don't put him in Texas. Good gosh, they got him out of there.
But you get what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, big time.
And then when we get to our list, you'll see why I built my list the way I did. But I wanted to give it a 9 out of 10, but the main event was not good. Like, it just didn't feel good at all.
So you wasn't feeling the moments when Joe and CM Punk, former Ring of Honor, Titans squared off for like the first time in 50 years?
All right, let me say this real quick about this. Tony, stop being nostalgic. We got it. You are a wrestling fan during this era. We don't have to try to relive and revisit these moments.
Every freaking moment.
Let them stay in the history. Let them stay there. Like, it's okay. Nobody, I don't know about y'all two. I don't want to see CM Punk versus Samoa Joe because I've seen it and it's good.
Not, and we saw them when they were younger, like, and closer to their prime than they are now.
And let's be honest, Joe got the best of that series.
Mm-hmm.
Joe came out as a bigger star. Joe came out one time. Did he do 2-1 or something? He had more victories over him, if memory serves me correctly, right?
I don't know, but
I think Joe had his number.
Somebody uploaded the Twitter Blue. Like, they bought Twitter Blue, they uploaded the whole match, like all 78 minutes and the whole thread of it. That series.
Bro, that's some old school Daily Motion stuff. Remember we used to watch our New Japan stuff, Daily Motion before the viruses took it out. Brian, what do you think about? I'm sorry, I'm going to finish, brother.
One more notable mention. Willow Nightingale is just awesome, beyond belief. She's just
she's it.
She's just, even without still, I was a Willow Nightingale. Every time I see her, it's like you can't help but be like, I want more of her on the screen. Give us more of her. It just feels like she just has something. And I think with her and Sky Blue tagging it, when Sky Blue was in their hometown, it was like, oh, this is it was nice. I don't want to say I wanted more, but it was like, that was a good thing. So, all right, back to you, sir.
I love both of those ladies a lot. Sky Blue is definitely, young up and coming star. Willow, I never can say enough nice things about Willow, just as a person, but especially as a wrestler. But overall, I thought Collision was solid. But again, the CM Punk stuff, and I think that's unfortunate because at the end of the day, let's be real, he's worn out his welcome, and I know we've said that on this program. Like, it's like, I've never seen somebody like hated. Like, Bret Hart was a heel in other places. CM Punk is just like, all right, whatever, and he could blame the crowd. He could blame the Young Bucks and Paige for turning their fans against him. But bottom line, it happened. You know what I mean? Yep. It happened. And like earlier, Cal was saying, like, it's kind of like, because the conversation is, are they missing out on money by not having them feud, right? The Bucks versus Punk, or Punk versus the Elite. How much money is being missed? Because Vince would have said, look, y'all can get this match going.
Shoot, Jeff Jarrett did the same thing too.
Exactly.
He did.
Yeah. It's funny because when I was later on, I was like, dang, I forgot about that one. But because I was thinking more so Edge and Matt Hardy, and that's as personal as personal can get. But the thing is, man, now I'm like, Tony, like you kind of missing out because we all know. Stop talking about it. We don't need
stop beating around the bush. Just go ahead and put it out there.
Yeah, so because people gonna tune in, even if you're not they're gonna be tuning in WWE locker room just to see how it goes down. So that's look
what they do with SmackDown. If you're not watching, nobody even cares about SmackDown wrestling. They care about what is Roman and the Usos gonna do. So I feel like now,
unfortunately, that's just what it is.
Yeah, AEW, we sitting there looking at people are breaking down posters. Oh, is CM Punk with this poster? Is he gonna be with the Elite? Oh, is the Elite gonna be there? How are they gonna do this? Like, oh, you mentioned them. It's making all this news and buzz, but it's like you're not giving us any kind of payoff for any thought towards it. And that red bag, I said, oh God, Tony, are you really recycling the story of CM Punk being the real champion? I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
If anybody can fill my boots, I'm like, I can name at least 8 wrestlers that can fill your boots.
Wow, that was quick.
But
that's the thing. Like it's like they play like. Granted, he had some key moments in WWE in Chicago, but that was, it's not like now. It's like it's a dependent, like they have to be there. It's like, what, you just gonna book Chicago 20 times a year and make CM Punk a part-time star? But for the positive, about AEW Collision, Dylan said, give flowers to Andrade and Buddy Murphy. We saw that. Miro.
Does that count though? They're workhorses, man. Come on now.
It was like they got their platform.
They could have that match in the bingo halls and the roof was still burned to the ground.
They could have that match every week and it would be great each time.
Mm-hmm.
Those two just have it together.
Oh, man. Drew Willingham, man. It's always good to have him in the chat.
Shout out to my man Drew Willingham. Back in Shenanigans.
Yes, sir. But that's all I got about Collision. I'll say this. No, one last thing. The set looked good. I like that. Finally, I feel like I'm watching a different show.
Yep, everything about it just felt different.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like a big deal, and that's why I said I'll give him credit for that. He's gonna give us these moments. Like I remember the first Rampage was the one when Christian won, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first one. Now I'm going to remember this because Buddy Matthews and Andrade, Christian with the title. It was just good.
Yeah.
With that being said, I tell you what wasn't good. Andrade's gear. He needs to go back to his old NXT gear. Like, seriously. That's one thing. That's one good thing about Vince. He used to make people stick to a certain look. I don't like that suit pant look he does. But
you don't like him looking like Black Mass from DC Comics?
No. I don't mind if that's like his entrance gear, but snatch off the little suit pants as your entrance gear. Have your old gear on.
Oh, okay.
Looks more like a champion. But with that being said, let's shift to Tuesday. I know we watched Monday Night Raw, man, but we had NXT Gold Rush. Did anybody catch NXT Gold Rush?
Oh, yes, sir. I've watched it twice.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I was like, this attention span was split on Tuesday, and especially like catching up on Dark Side of the Ring. So I watched it again because I was enjoying it, but man, woo! Between obviously Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, Braun, he worked. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. I tell you,
I'm not sold on him, but I'm okay with him.
Really?
Like, I don't need him to be world champion, but I like where he is now.
Yeah. I still don't want to see him. I'm still waiting for that moment to make you say, I want to see Braun. I want to see what he's going.
Why? No. Why is that? If you don't mind me asking, what is it about Braun that you're not necessarily sold on right now?
You know how every wrestler has that one moment that you're just like, oh my God, that's it, and now you want to see more from him. I haven't had that moment with him yet. Like everything, I feel like, and I don't want to downplay his wrestling. I feel like it's like 5 moves of doom. Here we go. What's next? I feel like I'm waiting for that. Like I always like Daniel Bryan, but when he hit that running knee and pinned Cena, it was like that was that moment. It was like I gotta watch everything he does,
It
regardless.
took you that long?
Because I knew he was always good. No, because I knew he was always good. Daniel Bryan was always going to get
Okay.
But that moment, I was like, oh shit. Oh, sorry, my fault. It was like the exclamation point on his career. So I'm waiting for the hammer to drop to something to make me say, okay, now I gotta watch Braun Breaker.
Can I ask you a question? Is it really his fault? Because I think he has the issue. Like he's a tweener right now, right? He's not necessarily made for the main roster yet. Because you pull him up, what do you do with him? But at the same time, though, in developmental, he doesn't have any dance partners because he looks like a main event guy, and there's not that many main event talent guys that can compete. Like he had the feud he had with Melo Hayes. They were the two top young guys that they were rebuilding NXT around. Regardless, it's like you've already had that match, so it's like you got to almost have these moments where he's being a bully, and then him helping to elevate other guys like Ilya, Dragunov to the American audience for the most part, and then you got to have matches like him and Dolph Ziggler to start it off, him and Ciampa to get him started, and then now Seth Rollins paying a visit back home and putting him in a position to see, let's see where you stand up against the top guy in the business, the top workhorse. He said it's the working man's championship, and perform that way. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I guess I can see both sides of it, man. But I think Braun is just about ready for the main roster. I still wouldn't pull him up because there's nothing for him to do there. But at the same time, you know, you're struggling to find things for him to do in NXT. So
that's true.
But we will get there. But let's move on. There's a particular subject that kind of came up this week in regards to the Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is coming up. I believe next week will be our Money in the Bank preview show. And I noticed when this one thing kind of happened, a lot of fans were in the uproar and they were kind of up and down about it. And I guess I was curious, like, I wonder what the brothers kind of think about this. And I purposely saved it for the show. And I'm referring to Logan Paul's return to Monday Night Raw. He shows up and he kind of declares himself, hey, Money in the Bank. I'm the latest entrant. This is what it's going to be, so on and so forth. And I know a lot of fans were in an uproar about it. They're like, oh, that makes sense. How come he doesn't have to qualify? This is dumb. Wrestling's not the same anymore because why didn't they, in kind of in the spirit of competition. But at the same time, I'm like, well, on the other hand, it's obvious that he's a celebrity. And in the Triple H era of booking, it's like, well, let's not pretend like he doesn't get special privileges because he's a celebrity. He has a larger following than WWE in general. So sometimes guys with special contracts and attractions, they get special privileges. And it's, for me, it's not that far cry for me to say, okay, of course, Logan Paul can come in and declare for Money in the Bank. He signed a contract where he probably has those privileges. We saw Triple H do it when he made his announcement about the new World Heavyweight Championship. He says Roman has it in his contract that he has, and hey, as much as it's smart business move, it's bad for the fans. We had to create a new championship. Smart on his behalf, but it's funky for us. So there's a level of realism to the fact that it was like, let's not hide this. We know he's a special attraction. So if he shows up and decides he wants to be in Money in the Bank, it shouldn't be that hard for fans to accept it. But they treat him like he's a full-blown, full-time wrestler, even though he is contracted to WWE. But I wanted to ask you guys, are you guys offended by the fact that he's getting special treatment, even though there's this new like thing now where you're like a regular celebrity. See, most celebrities show up once or twice a year. They have a spot and then done. We have celebrities now like signing full contracts and having full-blown matches and storylines like Bad Bunny and like Logan Paul. So this is kind of unprecedented. Something we really haven't seen before outside of maybe like a Dennis Rodman. You know what I mean? But Dennis Rodman still was only showing up once or twice a year, 3 times maybe. You know what I mean? Versus Logan Paul's like, he's got a full-blown contract and so does Bad Bunny. So it's like, are you guys offended by the fact that a celebrity like Logan Paul just comes in and doesn't have to qualify for Money in the Bank and just jumps right into it? Or you guys kind of, traditionally old school to say, no, he has to earn his keep. If he signed a contract, he has to earn his keep the same way everybody else does. What are you guys thinking?
I like it.
I don't see what the problem is for me personally, but go ahead.
Yeah, I like it because, like you said, I mean, this is sports entertainment and you're there to make money.
Yeah.
We see what happens with wrestling. Like, no offense, but wrestling don't like the Colin elbow, the graps itself don't sell. It's the storytelling.
It's not more popular than Logan Paul. Like, let's just keep it 100.
Yeah. So I mean, like Eric Bischoff said, like AEW done plateau. He called CM Punk the worst like the biggest financial flop in the company's history, but you bring in Logan Paul, the kids like him or they love to hate him. They're gonna say, wait, he about to face somebody, he about to get beat up. They're gonna tune in. So I'm all for it.
Brother Brandon?
So I think Triple H did exactly what he needed to do and made us really second guess this match. Like the Triple H dust is all over this because every participant in this match has a potential chance to face Seth if they get the briefcase. The only problem that I'm having is now I'm thinking, do you give Logan Paul the briefcase? Because imagine him for the next year carrying that briefcase around on his podcast, on his YouTube channel, with Prime, him everywhere with this Money in the Bank and explaining what it is.
Oh,
saying,
wow. I didn't even think about that.
I can cash in at any time. I got a guaranteed world title match whenever I get ready. I mean, just think about at the Super Bowl next year, he could be seen in the crowd holding his briefcase up and still got time. Just think about, like, let's just really break that down. Like, it was the smartest thing ever because you're going to get eyes on the product, but then it's like, okay, him and Ricochet had that collision. Did they not? Are they going to follow up with that? What else they going to do spectacular now? Do we really think Santos Escobar could get it and him and Zelina have an LWO moment with the belt? But then you got to build him as a star. Same thing with Butch. Only people that you really think would be credible threats besides Logan Paul is, let's be honest, Damian Priest, because they've been building this story in the back.
Oh, cut it out. Shinsuke? You kidding me? Unfinished business, Shinsuke?
Hold on, I'm getting there. Let me get there. You got Damian Priest with his story with the Judgment Day, right? If he gets the briefcase, does he, good luck tonight, Finn, because, I got the briefcase. More dissension. Then you got LA Knight, who is over with or without the briefcase, so do you give it to him? And then you got Shinsuke in the mix that literally, like you just said, has unfinished business that Shinsuke can be in any program, and if you give him this belt, does him and Io have it, and you rebuild these stars for your global expansion and put them that's a trouble. So he put so many wrinkles in this match by adding Logan Paul.
He does that on purpose, bro. He does that on purpose. You know what that's called? Triple H freaking dust.
Yep. And I'm saying anybody now it's to the point that if anybody gets this briefcase, you're like, wait a minute. But I hate to say it, if Logan gets it, it's probably the most financial decision that they could make. Bro,
I really hate coming on the show with y'all, bro, because I've been having my mind made up. And it's like I'm a simple man. I got to figure it out in my head, and then one of y'all say something, and I'm like, dang, bro. Now I got to rethink my whole way of thinking.
On YouTube with the briefcase like this in the background, bro, that you always see it.
I didn't even think about that, though. A whole year, like he has 365 days of potentially just carrying that thing.
And a SummerSlam or Royal Rumble moment. Who knows? He could enter the Royal Rumble with the briefcase.
And then you don't even know what title because they took all the limits off of it. It says for any championship. So it's not like it's forced into the world title picture. So it's like you're going to be guessing everything. You know what I mean? Like you might think, okay, he's going to challenge Seth. He might challenge Gunta or somebody. Or, you know what I mean? Anything can happen, man.
He can go get Austin Theory and take the U.S. belt.
I mean, it doesn't get any more American than that. Like beat Austin Theory for United States Championship. Like
the thing that Austin Theory couldn't do, and look what I did. I cashed it on you. I don't know. It's so many wrinkles right now.
Ooh, see, the broadcast cooking in the comments, right? So first they said for money purposes, we'll eventually give Bad Bunny versus Logan Paul. Imagine a situation with the briefcase, either the briefcase on the line or one of them is world champion. Because I think with that secondary world title allows you to kind of, you got some wiggle room. You know what I mean?
If Bad Bunny was world champion, the world wouldn't be ready.
Exactly. and he can wrestle. And then you got Logan Paul bringing the briefcase with him to the corner with his brother for his brother's boxing matches.
Bro, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, his show, Super Bowl.
And here's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who did he lose to at WrestleMania? You imagine him with the briefcase cashing in on Seth? The heist of the it's like you had a heist of the century. Because remember, nobody's never cashed in on Seth.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Dean Ambrose did. I'm sorry.
I thought Brock did.
Like you said, nobody
Brock did. Brock did, didn't he?
Brock was
Brock and Dean.
Brock
But
had no
Dean
business
did it
winning
that
Money in
night
the
when
Bank.
they both all the Shield had the belt.
And I was just thinking about that earlier because but you understand where I'm going. Like,
yeah. You know, I want to get my win back. And it's so
and it would be worse.
It's so crazy because imagine him being announced as WWE superstar Logan Paul.
People gonna be like, wait a minute, Logan Paul wrestles?
Yeah, I'm like,
And
what's
then
that tell us about this briefcase you have.
And even if you don't even go that far, just the teasers that they could do.
Check me out on Monday Night Raw. I'm gonna be popping up on there on SmackDown.
Honestly, he could lose, cash in and lose, and it wouldn't hurt him
at all. At all. Like
he could literally float between both shows with this briefcase.
Man,
like everybody thought it killed Austin Theory, but like, I mean, it definitely killed Baron Corbin and Damian Sandow.
But that was also during the Vince era. He was so stingy in how he was so set in his ways. Versus, like you said, Triple H, that's something we hadn't seen before with Austin Theory. Because, like you said, traditionally, we were like, oh, he lost it, but now you got no more. You derailed. Yeah, he grew his face out. He came back with a better attitude. He said, me losing the title freed me, and then he comes back and wins the United States Championship anyway. I was like, dude, he didn't. How do you lose? Like, that's Triple H does. I tell you. Wow. But man, thank you, you chumps. This gave me just a whole perspective that I didn't want to have. I was, my mind was set up. I was ready to go to Money Back next week. Like, oh, okay, I got to figure it out. But now I'm like, oh no. And it's like you said, Brother Brandon. Triple H does this on purpose.
Yep.
It's because guys like us got it all figured out, and he goes, okay, cool, no problem. But he puts all these other wrinkles into it, and now you're like second guess, like, well, which direction can they go in? Because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors or what their agenda is. So it's like it's hard to predict what's next. But at the same time,
I'm gonna say this before you get off Money in the Bank. If you notice how Triple H is doing things, and you said it perfectly, and I've thought about it, I'm gonna add to it. This is the road to SummerSlam.
Yep.
Money in the Bank is gonna be our road to SummerSlam. Like Royal Rumble was our road to WrestleMania. This is our road to SummerSlam.
Man, and it's crazy that he's treating, most people saying and noticing that they're treating even the stories like it's another WrestleMania. And I think that's, we've always considered SummerSlam the WrestleMania of the summer, but man, Triple H is taking that to heart. Like, as you say, hold my beer. Like, you think last year was good? Hold on, hold my beer.
And see, he got a whole time to cook. Last year, he cooked SummerSlam in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He
definitely did.
He put that sucker together and said, "Oh, don't worry, I got you." Dakota, what you doing on Sunday? Come see me. Come on down here.
Yo, that's literally what happened.
I'm trying to figure out how fast they got those contracts written up and situated.
He already had them ready.
He had to. There's no way in the world. He already made up in his mind what he was going to do. But we got to move on. We have plenty of time to talk about Money in the Bank next week because we have the main event to get into. We're going to skip some stuff on the run sheet. We're going to jump right into the Bloodline finally splitting up before we get into our draft. The NBA draft is tomorrow as of this recording. So we're going to get into our draft swap between AEW and WWE as our main event. I wasn't ready for the main event yet. I was like selling a commercial, but it's okay. It's all right. Yeah, I was let people like that's what you can look forward to after this next conversation. So that's but real quick, let's talk about the Bloodline. They finally split, man. Jey Uso. Oh, look at this photo. This is great. Look at that. Jey Uso finally grows a pair, and he kicks Roman Reigns in the face. We don't have time.
He had his soul in that kick,
bro. We don't have time to go into this like we usually do, but we're mentioning this for very specific reasons. We're getting the Usos versus the Bloodline of Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa at Money in the Bank. I've never seen a champion booked so well in a long time where he's not always defending the title or the world championship for the main event every pay-per-view, and yet it's still the most must-see segment that you're going to want to see. This storyline is unreal, and I'll say this right now. I'm bringing this up because I'm making a public service announcement, and I want you guys just to feed off what I'm saying and go ahead and express yourselves freely, as you always do. When I'm looking at where things are now as far as this storyline with the Bloodline, Jey Uso confronting his brother said, man, you know what? You out, but guess what? If you out, then I'm out. And he drops Roman, And now they've taken us down. Like I said, they've got 30 plus years of receipts dealing with Roman. I see now why Cody Rhodes wasn't supposed to win at WrestleMania.
Thank you.
Like, I was upset. Brandon reminds me all the time. I deleted the live from the Wrestling Wrealm IG account because I was genuinely flabbergasted. They ruined my moment. But when I see how far it's come, and I'm like, man, I can't imagine missing out on such a great story. And it's not over. Like, and this could be far from over. This is not going to end anytime soon.
I'm trying to tell y'all, just a
Man.
second in it.
And I was just like, it really is though. Like, we got 9 of them bad boys. And man, how did you guys feel when you finally saw Jey Uso stand up for himself and finally drop his cousin and finally decided the bloodline is done? The Usos said we can stand on our own 2 feet. Because Roman Reigns did some disrespectful stuff, man. It took y'all 10 years to get to WrestleMania. Like, come on, bro. you gonna believe the belt. And you know, he's taking full credit for the success of the Usos. And they're like, nah, we've been the ones. And he's like, nah, y'all wasn't. It took y'all 10 years to get to this place. And then y'all still wasn't as popular until you got with me. You know what I mean? And then this is it, man. How'd you guys feel when it's been teased for a long time, but we finally got the moment. It's official. The bloodline as we knew it is officially split up. How'd y'all feel?
That hurt.
Why did it hurt you, brother?
That
Brian?
hurt.
Brian H raises his ones.
Faithfully.
He does all that extra stuff. And I'm like, and I used to be conflicted because I used to raise my ones when the Usos came out. But when they got with Roman, I was like, nah, I ain't with y'all right now, bro. Let's do Roman. Roman Reigns supposed to lose his last 5 matches. But his bloodline, like they find a way to make sure that he wins. But now, like Cody Rhodes said, man, you look like a man without an island. You look like a chief without a tribe. And I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
What about you, Brandon? Brandon's just hurt. He's going through it right now. He's disappointed.
Me and Brother Hugh talked about this. Did I not call it? A Civil War was coming.
And yeah.
I remember saying it might have been on the Realm After Dark or something. I said I wish Brian knew the reference to Civil War so he can understand what I mean.
Oh, yeah, yep.
This is exactly when, and I'm gonna clarify something because I was watching the clip and it was like Brian H. Waters had said the bloodline was getting boring. I did say it was getting boring because it did. Without Roman, it got boring. But as soon as you inserted Roman, it was right back on track. Yeah. So this right here is the only reason that right here, because it's, and then think about it, Roman hasn't even wrestled. It's been how do we have a wrestling show? He got Triple H figured out the entertainment part of it. That
right
there was 5 segments almost with just them and the bloodline. It was like, oh, but we see wrestling, but we're okay with it because we want to see more of this. I'm interested to see when Zion Quinn is going to join the bloodline, because if they can have Yokozuna be a Japanese wrestler, Zion Quinn, I think he's Hawaiian, right? He can be Samoan.
They said they are all island boys. They said we're the only ones that determine the difference between the Pacific Islands as far as Fiji, Samoa, Tonga. They said they're all island boys. That's what I was told. That's what I heard.
And think about it, he's been taken off of TV. Why can't he be Roman's? Guess what? His next general. I think they're about to rebuild something. I think it's about to be good.
Let's go there, Brandon, because that's exactly where I was going. Like great minds think alike. This is why we added you to the mix, because you just fit right in like a glove, man. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, okay, cool. That's why I said what I said earlier when I was like, man, this may be the end of the bloodline as we remember it. Mm-hmm. One thing that Roman was right about is the bloodline has helped put the Usos. First of all, the Usos tag team career stood on its own.
Yeah.
But just this storyline being involved has taken Jey and Jimmy Uso personally to a whole different stratosphere just because of the association of it all. I do give him credit for that. And the storyline and being involved has brought so much out of them both as performers. That freaking Bubba Ray Dudley said that the Usos are the greatest tag team in WWE history. And I was like, man, I thought that was huge coming from them because I thought it was them. Because if you ask me right now, who's the greatest tag team in WWE, I would have said it's probably the Dudleys. And I feel conflicted about that because of the Road Warriors impact. And there's certain things you just can never take away from what the Road Warriors has done. But like it's always Road Warriors and Dudleys up there with me. And then And then he goes nice to Usos as far as WWE is concerned. You know, those guys are global guys and they've been well traveled and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But as far as WWE performance, I was like, man, they're living FTR's dream. They're making tag team wrestling relevant. They're making themselves performers. They're in main event storylines, and they're not as a tag team. They're just the Usos, Jimmy and Jay Uso. And I was just like, man, they have a huge family. And I was thinking about like Jacob Fatu. I was thinking about Zaya Quinn, and I was like, man, what if he comes out with two new guys that he could help develop? Like, think about Magic Roman with young guys. Like, it's first of all, if Solo Sikoa is just, even if it's just him and Roman, they could still be the bloodline because like you got your younger cousin as your heater. You know what I mean? While Solo grows and you know to who I'm like, man, what's to stop him from getting two more young guys?
We forgot. But here's something I'm gonna throw a wrench in you. Why you talking about two more? You know, Triple H still got his other two favorites out there that he was talking about bringing back. The Authors of Pain.
Oh man. Oh,
it got quiet. Whenever somebody get quiet, I'm like, something got to be happening.
I forgot about them. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the Authors of Pain are not what you consider. First of all, I love the Authors of Pain, but they work perfect as muscle. Yep. They don't need to have five. Like they remind me of Omos. They don't need to have 5-star matches. That's not what they're there to do. You know what I mean? Man. Oh shoot! This threw my whole thing off. I gotta catch up.
One of them got that tattoo right here, right? That makes you think. I don't know if he's Samoan or not. I just saying. If they can make Yokozuna look Japanese and make us think he was Japanese growing up, you could throw certain people with Roman, and guess what? Here's his new bloodline,
bro. If he brings back the Authors of Pain, like you still got like my thing was I'm gonna say who I was thinking about these guys. I was thinking about what if they sign these guys, the Gorillas of Destiny.
Didn't they want them back in WrestleMania?
I know they want Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Those are that's Haku's kids, Haku's sons. Yes. You know, of course we know him as Camacho. Yep. You know, and Tama Tonga has been in New Japan for a long time. He's an OG Bullet Club member. But you know, they're all in the same family. Like it may not be a direct line, but they all still fall in line. Like I remember Haku is the Rock's uncle. You know, the Tonga kid is, you know, that's Rikishi's brother. That's Umaga's brother. They're all I'm telling you, they're all related. Like that's how they fit in.
I want them instead of AOP.
Because at least those guys can wrestle. Because I remember they've been talking about a dream match. Like, man, we want to have a dream match with some of our relatives, like the Usos versus the Gorillas of Destiny. And they've been quiet on the independent scene and the global scene. I'm like, I haven't heard too much from them. I'm like, man. And I remember he kept saying they've been knocking on the door and stuff like that. And Tama Tonga has been saying that. And I was like, man, I've always been a fan.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine that though? Like, we saw what Roman did for the Usos. Imagine what he does. So now, not only is Roman your champion, he's helping to create new stars. He's part of the lifeblood of what the WWE is doing, which is trying to make sure that we're continuously adding new talent into the mix.
Oh my God.
Unreal to think about, man. The Gorillas of Destiny, Authors of Pain, Jacob Fatu. I don't know his contract status. And the crazy part is I'm gonna tell you how smart Booker T is. Booker T's capitalizing because Umaga's son Zilla Fatu is making his debut soon for Reality of Wrestling, which I will be very, very firmly close to watching.
But even if Jacob Fatu's contract is still with MLW, wasn't Stephanie trying to get a working relationship? And who's to say they can't? Triple H can get a working relationship like he did with New Japan and say, "Come on in," and still go do that show.
But they got that lawsuit.
Huh?
They had that lawsuit. Yeah, remember MLW was doing WWE.
Yeah, that was doing it. But you know, Triple H there now. That was doing events there.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was confused when I saw Stephanie trying to make what GCW. I'm like, what's going on? He's independent.
MLW. She was with GCW.
But listen, we got to put a pin in that because we'll be sitting here racking our brains up. I forgot. It's once again, the dust is at it again.
Let me tell you this though. Real quick, I had picked two people that I would love to see him add to the bloodline.
Perfect. Who'd you have?
I was going old and young. It's crazy to say this guy's older, but that would be bring back Manu, Alpha Jr.
Oh, Alpha Jr. is still out there, bro.
Alpha Jr.
I
my
forgot
God.
Alpha Junior is still out there, bro.
bro.
What
Just
if he go with the Usos to be their wise man?
No, there's no way in the
Nah,
world.
he's
He will
still
come out
cooking.
as straight
He's
muscle.
still cooking.
Yeah, he's still cooking. 1,420 days as the Us Wrestling Polynesian Legacy Champion. And
Bro.
he just had, I mean, it was just in Philly this past December. He had a match for a title. I forgot who his main event. It was definitely a former like big time guy. But yeah, I would bring him back. Imagine him and Jacob Fatu.
No,
with the bloodline.
No. That's freaking that's Rosie and Jamal all over again, man.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's 3 minute warning.
That's the 1 second warning. Ain't nobody gonna want to wrestle them. That's like
Bro,
that's you got to go bigger because at first, obviously I was like, I'm gonna be biased. I'm gonna throw Lance on the wire in there, right? Yeah. Lance could be the young boy because really you could see Lance is Solo around the same age as they're around the same age, right? So you can see them kind of being the young guys, but then you get these vets in there, and then Roman's like, look, he's got a point where, bro, the vets gonna respect him, and they're not gonna try to take his spot. Because they understand,
and they're vets, so it's like they don't need to be in the middle of everything.
Exactly, and then the young boys, they waiting to be groomed, and they understand. Okay, this is our tribal chief. He's the reason why we eat. And then the vets like, look, we got your back, man. Come on now.
So what? So and even still, like, what if eventually Roman Reigns decides eventually he's going to lose? He's probably going to walk away for a little bit. Which then again, you never know. So what if Solo finally comes into his own and he can carry the torch of why Roman is gone? Like, look, Roman's out, so I'm calling the shots now, and the bloodline is still intact because you got Solo calling the shots. You still got the wise man. Like, think about it. Say Roman takes a month off. Roman Reigns could still call into the show. Paul Heyman, call Roman Reigns, and then
Call Roman Reigns.
You know what I mean? And then freaking Solo, hey man, I talked to Big Cuz. This is what we doing tonight. And then it's like you could have him still playing the strings, but like that's you want to keep it 100. That's what gangsters really do. That's what like the big time crime family mafia dons do. They make those shots from a distance. They call those shots from a distance, and guess what? Them soldiers carry them orders out to a T. Yep. And like it's like somebody said earlier, it's like, man, this can go on for another 2 years if they wanted to, you know. Or on the other hand, man, we could see the complete implosion of the bloodline, and which will leave Roman Reigns completely vulnerable. And now, you know, it'll create a different dynamic where people want to see if he can fend for himself. So
did you Dylan said Lance and Solo are basically a year apart?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Yep.
Wow, man. We got to move on. We'll definitely put a pin in that again, man. But here we go. Now, Brian H., you can ring the bell. Let's get to the main event. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the show. If you don't understand what we came here to do, is the NBA draft is coming up later this week. So guess what? We know the WWE draft is kind of passing on, but we decided to take a stab at something different. You know, we're talent guys. We like to evaluate talent. We like to look at what they can do, how they work, how they, you know, kind of add to our favorite wrestling shows, what good or bad or indifferent. And today we're going to do that. We have decided that we're going to choose 5 superstars, tag teams count as 1, 5 superstars from WWE that we feel could make a bigger impact in AEW, no offense to TNA, and 5 superstars from AEW that will make a better impact or fit in better directly with WWE. Now, each of the realm members have all made their own choices, and we have not discussed this with each other. So this is the first time that we're going to be having this conversation with you all. So we want you to join in with us. And he says Zion is Australian. Will that work? He can't be Simone. See this real quick. See that, brother Brandon?
Oh, he's Australian.
He said
he got the tattoo going on too.
Well, you know they New Zealandish.
It's okay. He got a tattoo.
But you know they do the haka. They do all kind of stuff in New Zealand. The same thing, and then Australia, that whole mix. But here we go. I don't know Dylan Matthews. He says Ricky Stark's WWE is obvious. I don't think it is. But this is look. Dylan's starting already. Dylan's not even waiting for us. This is why we love Dylan. Dylan's in Australia and he's already jumping the gun. But each of the hosts of the show have not had this discussion with each other. This is, like I said, this is the first time we're going to talk about this, and this is what we're going to finish the show with for the most part. Is
Excuse me.
The reason I say this is because each week I watch AEW and I say, man, I wish I would have had this person in here, or this person would have made sense in this situation. And then and vice versa. I watch AEW and I say, man, this person will benefit most in NXT, or this person benefit the most on the Triple H on this situation and scenario. And I think some of our picks, they may be obvious, but they may not be obvious. But we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about it today. So, brothers, there's only one way to figure out how we're going to do this first. First of all, do we have a volunteer that want to go first? Because if nobody does, we're going to do rock, paper, scissors, and call today. Look at Brother Brandon. Brother Brandon, you're up first. He wants to go first. So, Brother Brandon.
Because mine go hand in hand. Because to understand my draft, you got to understand why I picked.
Okay. And this is perfect because the explanation is what's going to carry us through the rest of the show. Brandon, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Lovely championships, by the way. You guys got lovely championship belts back there. I got one. I just want to put that out there. Okay. Brother Brandon, who do you feel are 5 superstars from TNA that will benefit from being in WWE? I'm sorry, AEW. I'm tripping. Okay. AEW. So, and who are your 5 AEW guys that you feel will benefit from being in WWE?
Well, let me start with my WWE ones.
Okay, that's fine.
Because, and I'm going to say this, the real Dwayne Allen always talks about star power, star power, star power. There's nothing wrong with AEW's roster. They don't have star power. And correct. They need established stars that's going to put eyes on products and build up the talent at the same time.
We on the same wavelength.
In no particular order. It's not like one is better than the other. But the 5 stars I would move from WWE to AEW.
Here we go.
Charlotte Flair.
Yo, what?
This dude always causing trouble, yo.
Wow. Like, are you serious?
Yes.
The Queen?
I'm going to tell you why Charlotte. Rey Mysterio.
Man.
Randy
Orton. I already don't agree with your list. That's too much. Go ahead. Randy Orton.
Edge. And the last person, because he's not doing anything, could do much more in ROH, Cedric Alexander.
Okay.
So Charlotte, real quick, she's done what she could in WWE. Imagine her in AEW and what she could do for the women's division. That could be the shot to get them to the main focus point. Rey Mysterio, Randy, Edge, those 3 superstars, legends of WWE, Hall of Famers. Imagine they could do what Christian and Matt Hardy should have been doing.
Got it.
They couldn't do it.
Thank you. I'm going to wait for my rebuttal.
But then you'll see why I pull certain people from AEW.
I'm ready to see that. Yeah, I'm ready to see that.
Let's see this is, man, I
so
knew
in no particular order.
Go ahead.
All right. Jay White.
Kenny Omega.
Jay Cargill.
Darby Allin.
And Orange Cassidy.
And you know what the crazy part is? I like your AEW list better than your WWE list.
And this is why Jay White needs WWE, because they could put him on. All these people could be. They need the machine to showcase who they are or to build them as they are. Because Orange Cassidy character will work in WWE. It works in AEW, but it only works if you keep showcasing them. Darby Allin, same thing. When you don't see him, it's like, I don't get this guy. But in WWE, they could get him over. Jay Cargill, she needs those dance partners there, so that way she could be the megastar. She could be on the same the same wavelength as Bianca Belair, as Bayley. But she doesn't have the right mixture. Kenny Omega, you're going to kill yourself. You're 40 years old. You can't keep going hardcore. Go over to WWE. Not dial it down a notch, but do what Daniel Bryan did in WWE and get yourself over.
Right.
Why Darby? Why not Darby? Darby has that, with the machine behind him, Darby would be selling Funko Pops, face paint, skateboards. He would be printing money for WWE, and every little girl and every little boy that WWE goes behind. Think about it. A parent would take their kids to go see Darby Allin because he would have that following, and he would put on a good match for you. So that's my list. I only had honorable mentions for one for WWE. And you're going to hit this one, Dwayne. Cruz Del Toro and Joaquin Wilde. Because I think as a tag team, they need AEW for the tag team.
What?
They need AEW. Because WWE ain't doing nothing with them.
But that's not the answer to send them there.
Yeah, because they would flourish there.
They would flourish more in Impact than they would in AEW.
I think they would flourish at AEW. I think they would flourish. And for AEW, it's kind of backwards because I just moved. I will move the Dark Order or the House of Black, one of them, over to WWE.
Obviously, the House of Black, but not no Dark Order. Cut it out.
You know why? The WWE would do them right. They would be the house show attraction. They would be the ones. Yep.
The Dark Order will fit perfectly in Impact.
I don't think they would fit in Impact. And then the last thing for Impact, I mean AEW, I would send a title over there, and you know which title?
He's swapping titles.
I would send the title.
Man.
Give rid of the TBS title, give it to WWE, their secondary title, or one of the trios belt, because they don't need two sets of trios belts.
Okay. All right. Brandon, what do you think about Brandon's list? Because I was fine and I couldn't keep my comments to myself.
Bro.
But this is usually how the conversations go.
Bro, what are you doing, yo? Like,
I'm trying to go ahead. I'm listening because I'm trying to build AEW. They need help.
But yo, you sending Randy Orton and Charlotte Flair to a place with no structure?
Right.
No. Yo, they're gonna kill everybody over there.
They're gonna be just like CM Punk and bleed them dry.
Exactly.
That's why CM Punk does what he does, is because think about it. Remember his promo, he said, one thing they know about this place is it's a business. And that's what CM Punk holds that over Tony Khan's head. He learned that from those sharks. He knows that no matter what he does, he knew they had all that merchandise waiting. They had all his action figures on hold. And as soon as he got there, they were selling and pre-ordering everything for all the CM Punk merchandise. He's like, yo, whether y'all want me here or not, my name still carries weight as far as business is concerned. Imagine what the heck Randy Orton and freaking Charlotte Flair would do over there.
Who are both bigger stars than CM Punk?
Yeah, exactly. The reason,
and that's the whole point. Does AEW not need superstars?
I'm not against it, but I don't think it would be realistic. It's because nobody would match their energy. Like somebody,
but that's the point. That's the point. You got to get people to that level. And look what Randy Orton did for a lot of wrestlers in his career. Look what
in
he's
WWE
done.
Though. In WWE, not with Tony Khan running the show.
I'm not talking about Tony. I'm just talking. You didn't give me all these speculations that we got to.
No, hear me out. This is why.
Rules while going through.
No. I'm not changing the rules. I'm just saying this is why. Like, I see what you were thinking, but like this is why I didn't take that approach to the list, because I'm like, realistically, like, what would Randy Orton really do over there? Like, there's nothing for him. Like, I don't think Randy Orton is a WWE guy because that's all he knows. I don't think Randy Orton knows how to be anywhere else. And I feel the same way about Charlotte Flair. You took two superstars that were born and bred superstars in WWE. Like, they don't know how to be professional wrestlers. They're just bona fide superstars. Not a bad list. I was just like, dude, it just doesn't seem very realistic. Your AEW list was very, very realistic. It made a lot of sense. Jay White, yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with that part. But the AEW list was like, okay, that I could see that actually happening potentially. But as Edge and Rey Mysterio are both old. Like, they can't do anything. Like, they're one wrong. Like, Rey Mysterio went back to WWE because he got tired of running the Indies.
Yeah,
I'm saying, look what Randy Orton early in the career made you pay attention to Kofi. Triple H did the same thing for Shelton. You know what I mean? Like,
how long ago was that though?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, even now, Randy took Riddle and made you pay attention to Riddle.
And he's out like for the last 3 years with a back injury because he can't have no AEW match at this point.
We were just fantasy booking, right? And my thought,
no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Right. Randy's the star that you need to help build the other stars. Like what Chris Jericho couldn't do on his own, and what he tried to do and tried to keep. Oh, look at him! Insert Jericho. You got three bona fide legends that can help with the aid of Sting.
And they're Jericho, all over the age of 47.
Yeah, that's look. Okay, case in point, look at Sting. He's a legend, right?
Yeah, but Sting's not wrestling though. Like he's hanging out with Darby Allin.
Yeah, he's actually
okay. So let me ask you this: so do you feel like guys like maybe not Randy Orton, but like for guys like Edge and Rey Mysterio, do you see them having a similar role, like you said, to like a Jericho and a Sting, where they're kind of like, you know, because if you look at Rey Mysterio now, he's with LWO trying to help these young guys get over it with the association. Same thing with Edge when he started the Judgment Day with a fresh crop of people trying to help them get over You feel like they play the same role in AEW, and that's how they can use their name to help the company, or do you think they're gonna come out there gang busting like, hey, I'm in a championship match like CM Punk?
No, they got to be a perfect blend of what you said at first,
Okay.
plus how they sparingly use Sting in matches, or
Yeah,
they're overusing Jeff Jarrett and taking away his legendary career by
really.
the title match.
You
I
think
feel like
they're
Jeff
overusing Jeff Jarrett?
Yeah, I've seen him too much.
Brian, this is what happened last week. No, Jeff Jarrett is in good shape.
Jeff Jarrett needs to be for the special matches, not on think about it. Do you want to see Jeff Jarrett every week when you got a whole roster full of people, or do you want to see it when it's special?
I like seeing Jeff Jarrett with his old TNA and Ring of Honor guys. Like I like seeing Jeff Jarrett with the Jay Lethals, and then you see Jay Lethal with the Mark Briscoes. I like that group because it reminds me of the old days. And that's all it is. It's a segment. It's not like what I mean? It's not
just keep it as a segment. I don't want him to see him wrestling. I mean, he thinks it'd be a special thing when he wrestles.
He turned down the All Atlantic Championship because they was going to try to put the strap on him. He turned it down because he almost had another run. But okay, interesting list. I wouldn't expect
this right here.
He traded a belt, bro. Like he said,
the belt guy is so on brand.
It made sense. My man said, "I'm even sending a title over there." It makes sense. I wouldn't expect anything else from Brother Brandon. What about you, Brian?
Get rid of one of them
the cash considerations. So I took a different approach. I went to see like who could use a shaking up, who could use a refresh, and who could work with some talent, right?
Okay, there you go.
So the AEW, I'm sending Elias. I want to see him work with some new people. Maybe because I'm just not a fan of these two people.
Hold on, let me write your list down too, because I'm already got some comments about your stuff too. Go ahead.
I'm gonna send Elias. I'm gonna send Johnny Gargano. I feel like
I can see Johnny G.
All them wrestlers over there, might as well, and send his wife with him too.
Now, are you counting them as one? Because that's fine too. Okay, so Johnny.
No, because they're not going to work together. They're not going to work together. Maybe unless like Adam and Britt, but not Not the way with the next person. They going together as a package deal. You probably already know where I'm going with that. That's going to be Karrion Kross and Scarlett.
Okay,
I think Karrion Kross does better with a non-PG crowd. Okay, you look at like the stuff with the House of Black are doing. I think Karrion Kross can do all that stuff over there. And then last, I'm sitting in Raquel Rodriguez. Sorry, Brian. But
that makes. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm sending her over there. Let her work with that I guess you call it the TBS division. The Statlanders.
Not the TBS division.
I was about to say, Brother Brandon, is that really a thing? I was about to ask you, sir. Like, bro, is that a thing for real?
But like TBS division.
The Chris Statlanders, the Taya Valkyries, the Nyla Roses. Yeah, that's send Raquel Rodriguez over there.
Got it.
But see, Brian, with your list, I feel like AEW be in the same place that it is now.
And big time. See, I think I'm going to be a blend between the two. I think I'm going to
be. You didn't do anything to add. You just like.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but
I agree with Brandon on this one, buddy. Like, it's not. I see what you're doing, but
I get it 100%. Yeah,
but see, I'm looking out for the wrestlers, right? So I think the wrestlers could benefit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think Elias will, because I think Elias.
I don't think Raquel will either.
I think Elias, Raquel, Johnny Gargano, and his wife most likely will fit in. And I think, and that's not a good thing, is because when I say fit in, I mean they'll be hot for 2 weeks, and then they'll just have great wrestling matches after that, because it's creatively like, what would you do with them? I think they can have phenomenal matches. Like wrestling is not the problem in AEW. It's just the entertainment value on this main stage that's bothering me as a fan. You may feel differently, which is okay. You know what I mean? But it's just, it comes down to preference. But
I think that's their role, though. To be honest with you, does
AEW need more of that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just don't think at this point, they showed us who they are. They are who we thought they was, right? They're solid number 2. The WCW wanted to entertain us, right? That's the reason they was, for the longest time, they was a wrestling company.
That's true.
But then Ted Turner made it clear, what I got to do to compete with Eric. Man, I can't wait for y'all. I don't know if y'all watch Heels, But yeah, that's the show. That's very interesting.
Come on, Showtime or Stars? Stars, right?
Stars,
got it.
and season 2 about to come out.
Oh, guys, do I need to go get Stars and watch it?
Yeah, I think I might have to now too, because you've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah, I've heard good things about heels.
Yeah, it's really good. But the thing is, right?
Mm-hmm.
When, like I said, I just think they're showing us who they are. When I look at WCW, they turned the corner by signing a Hulk Hogan, signing a Macho Man. Say, okay, we got the wrestlers and the Flairs, the Stings, the Lugers. We need entertainers. AEW, they if they really wanted to, I'm not gonna say they could have signed John Cena or somebody, but they're not doing anything different as far as their approach. There's enough wrestling DVD literature out there to understand how this works. So that's why I feel like, okay, these people gonna benefit, because like you said, they might be in the company might be in the same spot, but you got time, you got 3 shows that you got to run. These are people that would go in those 3 shows. Now, for WWE,
here we go.
I'm gonna start low and I'm gonna go high. I'm gonna start low. I'm gonna go high. I'm bringing over Anthony Ogogo. I want to see.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, especially now that they bringing back NXT Underground. I think he could benefit from the school of Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, makes sense. He's good. I like Anthony Ogogo.
And somebody else who could benefit from the school of Shawn Michaels down in NXT.
That's what we calling it now, the school of Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. HB Kizzle, man. I am team HBK, the producer. I'm sending Kiera Hogan over.
Okay.
I like this crop of young black women and young women of color they have down in NXT. Shout out to Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. Those 2 ladies, they got something right there with the metaphor. So you know, but I would send Kiera Hogan over there. They'll beat up on her. She won't join them, but they'll beat up on her and she'll get going. She'll, you know, become women's champion down at NXT before she goes to the main roster. I'm bringing over an old vet because I talked about this earlier. Somebody got a retirement match coming up. We don't know the exact date, but I think he's going to retire for real the way he want to in April. And we keep talking about this bidding war of 2024. One person I want them to sign in 2024 when his contract is up in March, Christian Cage. Go home. I want one more match with Edge at WrestleMania. A retirement match. On a ladder match with the contract, the retirement papers on the ladder. I mean, suspended above the ring.
Would you bring him back as a heel?
Oh, you have to.
Let him have his quick pop moment as a face, and the next day just turn him.
Yeah. You bring him back, you do the Brood real quick, and then he turns on him.
Are you a fan of his heel work in AEW?
Oh my God. This is his best heel work ever. This is his best heel work ever.
He's trying to get
on another level with his as a heel.
The problem is like
Luchasaurus, bro. Take the mask off, man. Bro,
Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy. Like,
he's not working with nobody. Like, he's trying to get these young guys up. They still like belong in a toy aisle. I don't care how many colors you turn Luchasaurus' mask. He's got a dinosaur mask on. Like, you're killing me.
I can't take a heel dinosaur.
Think about it though. What if it was Lance Archer instead of freaking. You see what I'm saying? Like it's that's just my.
But opinion. He was working with Jake the Snake.
He was. Jake was. But I think Jake has kind of transitioned to backstage stuff now. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But Anthony Ogogo, Kiera Hogan, Christian Cage.
Yeah. And Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill. Okay.
She going right to the main roster.
She's the obvious one. Yeah.
She's like. She's too like who's working with her at NXT? You know what I mean?
No,
like,
that's why AEW pushed her. She checked all the boxes.
You know who she is?
Who's that?
Paul White, 1999.
Yes. Yep. Like main event draw, but needs in-ring experience.
And
needs to work with.
Needs to get her reps in.
With top talent.
Help her.
Yeah. And so you had those matches at where he was getting sent to OVW. You know, you had those untelevised matches just so she can get the reps in. But she's still a big star because talent. Yeah, I mean, man, her and Charlotte, her and Becky, her and Trish Stratus. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And my final pick, man, come on home, man. I'm tired of seeing. No, he don't belong there. I'm sorry. I know he's having fun, and I'll even make this a package
Oh, here
deal
we
if
go.
I can get the deal done.
You know it's gonna say it.
You know
Adam
who's-
Cole, man.
Oh, that's a swerve. I didn't
thought
see
you was
that.
gonna say Daniel Bryan.
I thought he was gonna say Chris Jericho.
No,
I thought you
no,
was gonna
no.
say Daniel Bryan.
So here's the thing, right? I love Bryan Daniel Bryan, but I also recognize he had did all that I was going to see him do. Now, I mean, you got a world heavyweight championship now, so that might be intriguing. But
No.
I like watching.
He had it already though, didn't he?
Now I'm
He
talking
had
about
the
that
big
new
gold.
belt. Yeah, he
Well,
had the big, but that new belt. I mean, you know, him and Seth Rollins, him and
Oh shoot!
Cody Rhodes.
I just realized what you said. I'm like, oh, you're right. There's room for another champion now.
Yeah. But because like even like that stuff with Roman and you know, it was cool. It was good to see, and I would have popped if he won. We knew he wasn't, but he's fine over there. You know, he don't want to be champion. Let him do. I like the whole thing with the beat down. The
Blackpool Combat Club.
Blackpool Combat Club. I like that, right? But Adam Cole, man, give me Adam Cole. If you tell me, look, yeah, man, I'm only coming. Bring her too. You know,
go ahead.
Because the thing is, right? I felt Adam Cole under the Triple H regime would go to the level we want to see Adam Cole, and we you know, he would be whether it's on Raw or SmackDown. I don't care, but I'm ready. I would ready be seeing him, you know. But as far as seeing, you know, I mean, he's cool over at AEW. He's probably going to be the champion. But nah, man, I need him in on the Be a Star campaigns. I need him on all the commercials. I need him on the Snickers commercials. He is a mega star waiting to happen, and he would be one in the Triple H era.
That's tough, man. He got to get in line.
Yeah, and now let me ask you one question, Brian. You think Kiara Hogan in NXT before like Raw SmackDown?
Of course.
Yes. Because I think she's good, don't get me wrong. But I think, you know, she's been on like the indies and the in that circuit
right
too long. And I think she gets a character change. I don't know how much, but I think she gets a character change. I think she can still use some finisher school.
Like a Roxy type deal. She gets a different feel.
Well, see, Roxanne was like, as she was about to, like, Roxanne was getting ready to take off and go to another level, and WWE snatched her. So it's like, you know, because I mean, they signed her, what, 19?
Yeah.
You know, great shit.
Training. When I'm thinking Kiara Hogan, I'm just thinking about all the SmackDown roster, even the Raw roster.
But even the girl, like, you got people like Xia Li on there who's not doing much. So I wouldn't even rush her until they're ready to like really have multiple women's matches. But I think with the talent down in NXT, you know, you could bring her in like a big, kind of like the way they brought in Athena.
Yeah, I think she also gets a better opportunity to build a brand around herself.
Yeah,
and it's on TV. It's not like it's on the network. It's on USA. So it's like I think sometimes I don't look at NXT all the time as like what he or she needs to develop in ring wise. That may be the reason why they're there, but otherwise it's like sometimes you just need a platform to build a brand, to get people to want to get familiar with you and actually care about you or your character. But interesting list you have there, Brian. Anything else you want to kind of put out there as far as your list?
Nah, I mean, you know, like I said, this is what I was thinking about. You know, my thought is always, you know, is okay. Like, I don't need to see Adam Cole. I know he ain't been there a long time, but it's like, what else am I gonna see him do? You know what I mean? So
yeah. And let me speak on your Adam Cole thing, because that's one that kind of stuck out the most to me. I think Adam Cole was, as much as I didn't want to see him leave, I think he's perfect for AEW, is because I think he has more room to grow. I think he has a spot and an opportunity to be a top guy. And for me, he's a familiar face that can, like, when I look at AEW, I'm like, they need familiar face and pillars to help build this company, because at the beginning, they didn't have enough guys that I cared about to want to see the new guys dance with, right?
Yeah.
And I think he fits in. It's like he's going to get a spot faster in AEW than he will in WWE, because, like I say, he comes back to, and I think everything you said is absolutely, I agree 100%. But it's like there's so much talent right now in WWE, he might get lost in the sauce. And I think he's already in the main event scene in AEW.
Because real quick, I'm thinking like, as you was talking, I'm like, if you imagine him coming in that Johnny Gargano spot, I don't think, like, Johnny Gargano to me just never did anything to say I need to watch what he's going to do outside of the ring.
Yeah, kind of. He kind of like I just I think he got caught up in that. Let me work with my wife and Dexter Loomis stuff, and it kind of like you know what I mean. Like I think if he tried to kick Gunther's head off, I think he would have made much more of an impact. But I think Johnny purposely has been hiding for the sake of what they want to do with him next.
Okay.
So it's like, well,
He might want the freedom to be able to not be on TV because his baby. He might say, I don't want that limelight right now because I got a newborn. He came back.
What did he do Monday? I don't remember. And Raw was in Cleveland.
He didn't do anything.
He wasn't there.
The whole report is that
Tommaso Ciampa came back.
And Tommaso Ciampa came back.
Yeah, now that's what I'm oh man, we ain't touch on that. I'm excited to see what he gonna do.
Bro, he's back. He's jacked.
He got his
got
music.
His trunks on. He got his music back.
It sounded a little. Was that his say? That wasn't his Blackheart music. Which music was that?
No One Will Survive, right?
That was his dead, and that was No One Will Survive. Yeah,
that was his first one, not his Blackheart music.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember he said he changed it too because of like stuff that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember it was like Twitter was going off.
That's my favorite guy. Like it's obvious he's gonna feud with the freaking Miz. Like the lackey always turns on the master.
Mm-hmm.
He's in excellent shape, man. It's been a while. It hasn't seemed like a whole year, but he's been gone that much. But I've been pretty occupied with everything. But I'm glad to have him. He's one of my all-time favorites, Tommaso Ciampa. And like I say, I grew to like him so much in NXT, not anywhere else, because I thought he was a clown in a Ring of Honor. every like I said, that blonde mohawk, everything he did in NXT, he was trying to do in Ring of Honor, but it was no Triple H does.
Yeah.
So, somebody posted about DIY versus Sammy and Kevin Owens, and they said it's all 4 former NXT World Champions.
Oh, it writes
and
itself.
I was like, I didn't even realize that. I was like, oh, and it was like, and they're all frenemies that all turned on each other at some point. There's like, why you have 4 dance partners that fight each other but come together for a greater good.
Yo, yeah, Kaz said that. Yeah, I remember posting that clip when we talked about
they are.
Bro, whoever loses is going to turn on each other. So, like, if Johnny got them lose, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny, you're not safe. If Sammy them lose, Sammy get out of Dodge.
And then Kevin Owens and Tommaso Ciampa just look at each other, just have a stare down, just yell at each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, they are all 4 former NXT champions.
That would be insane. So,
sorry.
You guys ready for my list? Here we go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, let me take notes.
Now, here's what I was thinking. I was thinking for my WWE list, I chose probably a mix of AEW's established talent, maybe 1 or 2 guys or gals that I think will benefit more in WWE. And then for AEW, I chose a lot of mid-level talent in WWE. And I say mid-level, like former world champions or IC title champions that will benefit from fresh runs, but their names will carry like main event status and will help AEW as far as because I still think they're struggling with their main event scene. Like they've got some established guys, like you got MGF, you got Adam Cole, but then where do you go from there? Like this, they got to keep, so which one you guys want me to start with, AEW or WWE? Just somebody pick.
WWE.
Okay, here we go. WWE. No, wait, this is people you think I should bring up from AEW to WWE?
No, WWE to AEW.
Okay, WWE, AEW. Okay, top of my list. As much as I don't like this, trust me, I think first one I choose is
Hold on. Dylan had to get the shenanigans because every time AEW always have a women's match at 9:30.
Do they really?
Yes.
Yep.
That's why he went there.
Now I'm going to watch the fans.
I'm telling you, no. If you check it, it'll probably be on there, like 9:30 women's match.
Oh, Dylan.
So here's my list. At the top of the list, you good. I agree with what Brandon said in the beginning when he said that AEW needs more established brands to help these other people grow. And I feel like these guys are not really doing as much in WWE, except one, with the exception of one. I'm sending one superstar over there. And that superstar, I'm just gonna start at the top, is Drew McIntyre.
I like that.
He will be the, and I say Drew McIntyre is because he has experience on the indies being like the biggest indie draw. You know what I mean? Like he's a guy that says that at one point I was the biggest thing in independence before he went back to WWE. So I feel like he can handle that style of wrestling a little bit more, and then bring his experience as far as WWE on the main stage, as far as like the TV deals, because AEW still books kind of indie-ish, but he has experience in that. He has been like the
biggest over there, brother. That's not
like he's but just off his recent WWE success, he's got to get like Cody's too hot right now, Roman's too hot right now. You know what I mean? It's a long line. He kind of had his run at a rough time, and he had his moment. But I think if he goes to AEW, he'll be the biggest thing over there. Like Drew Galloway is going to be a huge name. You know, the AEW does a lot of their big business overseas now, so he can make those runs, opportunities to be home. They're going to pay him a lot of money. They're going to put his name on everything. So, you know, and he can handle. He can be success. He's proven that he can be successful outside of WWE, and he was a big deal before he came back. Imagine what he is now. So I think that's the biggest one that I have on this list. The next one is Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler getting a fresh run. It's like, once again, you got another decorated world champion that can work with mid-level guys, young guys. He can work with everybody on the card. And I feel like if he comes in and treat like a big deal, like he's a former world champion, he can immediately go to that main event scene. It doesn't mean he have to win the title, but as long as he's in contention for it, for something up at the top. You know what I mean? Imagine Dolph Ziggler dealing with the Jay White and stuff like that. Those guys need those feuds that people want to care about. Like, let's see if Jay White and Dolph Ziggler can go toe-to-toe in the ring. Like, imagine those guys in the ring by themselves, you know? Those, like, I don't want them to go and have these WWE matchups. Like, I want to see them make a make a difference. So the next one I say is, this is not going to be a popular one, but I'm telling you, I think he'd be a big deal, is Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal has a main event presence about him. He always has, whether people liked his run or not. He looks like $1 million. He carries himself the correct way on the microphone. He has a great presentation. One thing AEW does well is their freaking promo packages. Their video stuff is just phenomenal. Like, just even from it started during the pandemic, and they've been blazing the trail ever since. Like, that's the best part about a lot of their programs, is when they do their video packages. And so I was like, man, Jinder Mahal would be a huge deal. Like, they don't have a huge, big, villain like him, the kind of this Indian aristocrat, the rich spoiled guy. And then even if you take him as a package deal with like Indishir as his muscle, like, even if they don't wrestle, you know what I mean? Like, that's the segment of the show that you go, man, this guy's going to be a legitimate contender. Like, MJF is struggling right now because he doesn't have dance partners. Even if he works with a Jinder Mahal or Drew McIntyre, or Dolph Ziggler, it automatically puts him in a category with those guys, because he'll have a history of matchups with this level of talent that you don't get in AEW right now, because he's the top guy. Like, all your major superstars are old guys like Jericho and Sting, and Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's starting to be a shell of himself, trying to get himself together. Even Matt Hardy at one point was a world champion, in TNA, and he was the top guy, but that run is over once he left the Indies and went back to WWE. So it's like he's also on daddy duty. Like, he's working with young talent, trying to bring those guys up. So the next person I got that I'm sending to AEW from WWE is Brian H. is what you and I agree on, is Karrion Kross and Scarlett. I think they can do more. I think there's a space over there for him to be an important piece. And once again, he's another guy that did well on the independents. Yeah, he's another guy that knows how to work that style with that type of talent, where it's not a whole lot of storyline available. And look at him, the modern day Maharaja, Uncle Raj in the building. Karrion Kross, like, him being Killer Kross, there's room for that. You know what I mean? Like, he can do his segments, he can have a presentation, he can, you can do more. And I say do more is because there's space to do it. There's not a lot of characters in AEW, right? There's not a lot of time to do these special effects and these things. And I think that's what he's complaining about the most in WWE. He's like, man, I'm not given the time to really do this thing like I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to make it make sense, but he's only given a small window. And he hasn't mastered how to do that with a small window, versus the Indies. There's nothing but small windows. So everything he does is like a big deal because it's a quick shot month in and month out. And I think he would just benefit. I think you
keep him away from Adam Cole, right?
Am I keeping him away from Adam Cole? Yeah, for the love of God. We want him to be successful in AEW. But think about it though. I look at it this way. Look at an easy book. Adam Cole finally beats MJF after a series of matches. He's world champion, blah, blah, blah. Karrion Kross debuts, chokes him out. Says, "Oh, I didn't forget anything. You thought I forgot what you said to me years ago?" You know, AEW likes to bring up WWE stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean that's it's buzzworthy. Adam Cole wins the title, and he comes out, and the first person that chokes him out is Karrion Kross. You know what I mean? Same thing. Smoke comes up, lights go wild, black and white, whatever you want to do. You know, whatever TNT is going to pay for. It would make people go, "Oh, so wow!" That the bell has to ring, which is, you know, a different conversation. But up to that point, you might be able to sell some tickets, and I think they can make him look like a main event draw, because he looks like a main event draw everywhere else. Just the problem is when he got to WWE, everybody looks like that.
Yeah,
and it was difficult for Karrion Kross to kind of find his way. And the last one I chose is Bobby Roode. Another guy that's well traveled, another guy that that's made a name for himself. Yeah, y'all still with me? Uh-oh.
Yeah, we hear you. I hear you.
Okay. Another guy that's well traveled, but he's an established brand. Everything he's done in Impact, TNA, even his time at NXT and WWE. Bobby Roode is an established brand that I feel like, he's somebody that can have main event caliber programming in AEW. They could even do something similar to his music that he had in NXT, so on and so forth. So yeah, Bobby Roode is those are my guys.
I like it.
And he's gone. So he gave me flack about my list, so I'm gonna give him flack about his. I took legends to do almost the same thing that he wants to do. He said established stars. He said Drew McIntyre, Dolph, and Bobby Roode all in the same breath about established stars. They could do that. What was wrong with what I did with actual legends to pump some star power into it? And the reason I didn't take Drew, because I want Drew to be Kenny Omega and Jay White. You get what I'm saying? I want Drew McIntyre to stay there with that. I didn't take Dolph because I want Dolph with Jay and Kenny Omega in WWE, not in AEW. I think that Drew and Dolph stay there and bring the talent to them. Because if you take Bobby Roode, and let's call it what it is, it's been more time that he's been out of TNA than probably we remember him in TNA. You get what I'm saying? Because that was doing that weird transition, the last good days of TNA becoming Impact almost.
Yeah, like 2012.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it was that weird time frame, and he carried the company. But does anybody remember that, or remember what he did with NXT, or do they remember just the glorious run that didn't happen in WWE? You get what I'm saying? So does he really have that power, or are we doing the same thing of what AEW has now? Bring Bobby Roode in. Oh, look, he's here, and then he's like a Roderick Strong. He's like a Kyle O'Reilly. He's like all those other people that's like, oh, yeah, he's here, but what are we doing with him? I feel like that was, yeah. Oh, we kept it going, though. So
no, it's cool. See, I missed all the good comments about my list.
Oh, don't worry. I gave you flack for it because you did the same thing I did, but you did it with a different set of stuff.
I came back just for this argument. Here's the difference between what I did and what you did, Brandon. I picked guys that would like realistically could actually go over there and make a difference. And it's like, oh, it's cool because I've never seen them over here before. Randy Orton and Charlotte Flair, goodness gracious, bro. Like there's no chance in the world they're going over there.
But so what you said, like I said, Bobby Roode, he's been out of Impact so long. Can he really carry a torch right now?
Well, see, here's the thing though. He's an established brand from NXT, but he hasn't really had like a full blown world title run where he's too big. So it's a blend of, well, he's a veteran, but he's still got a lot to prove. Like, when's the last time you seen Bobby Roode in a world title match? Like,
that's my point.
You see what I'm saying? But
you're going to be back in the same problem that we have in AEW, that you got all these people and they're there, and then it's like.
But Bobby Roode's at least a star, though.
He's going to be like Keith Lee.
No, cut it out.
He's going to be with Dustin Rhodes in 2 weeks. Circumstance over.
But not if you book him in the main event early. Like if you bring him like, yo, Bobby Roode's here and he's challenging MJF for the title. He's like, bro, I'm not backing down. Son, it is what it is. And don't get me wrong, it has a lot to do with the booking. You know what I mean? But
I feel like if an established name won't fall to the booking as much like Drew McIntyre, he is probably one of the most successful people in the indie scene post WWE, outside of like a Cody or somebody like, you know what I mean? Because he actually said, I'm going to go transform myself
Yeah.
Cody did. Him and Cody had almost similar trajectories. But remember, Drew went and got popular on his own without attaching himself to stuff. It was always just Drew. So yeah, I can see him doing it, but it's gonna. I hate to keep comparing names, but we've seen it too often with AEW. Here they come, and then next month you forget that they're even there.
Yeah, that's true. But Bobby Roode looks like a world champion, for goodness' sake.
And with Dolph, you're not going to escape this with Dolph. Dolph had the same effect Christian had. He's here, and then where is he?
Here's what I'm saying though. If Dolph Ziggler shows up in AEW tomorrow and he beats MJF, the rest of the world's gonna be on fire.
Because then 2 weeks from then he's gonna be with his brother in a tag team.
Hey, listen, but them 2 weeks you're gonna make some money.
That's it. Though.
And you give whoever beats him, like say MJF wants a rubber match, you give him a credible matchup. The problem is the matchups. Like even if he loses, at least like for instance Jay White, they brought in Jay White. Even if Jay White doesn't beat MJF, why is he not knocking on his front door? You're just the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and the first thing you should be doing is, hey MJF, I want what you got, buddy. I didn't leave. I left there for a reason. I want what you have. No, he's feuding with freaking Ricky Starks and the other guy. I'm like, dude, come on. It is no disrespect to Ricky Starks. I promise you it's not. But like, dude,
the 4 pillars. MJF should feel like so many people are coming after him. He has to keep
exactly though. But that's
be champion. But
that will make that title that much more important. Where everybody's like, yo, I'm leaving where I'm at because I want what you have. Like you're putting your champion over, and you're putting the importance of your title over. Like, especially if you're a former world champion, like he's not, like he's fresh off his IWGP run. Like it ain't like he hadn't been champion in 5 or 6 years. Like last year at Forbidden Door, he came out as IWGP champion in the Fatal 4-Way match. It's like, dude, that's like even with you had Jay White going to WWE, he would definitely benefit from WWE. But I'm like, dude, he has an opportunity to still be successful in AEW if they just booked him the correct way. You don't have to win the title, make him a contender for it.
And I said, there's nothing wrong with their roster. They're missing that beyond that moment. That's all I'm gonna say about AEW. They can't get beyond that moment. Everything's about that moment.
Yeah, and that's the honest to God truth. And I think as long as we have that, we'll always get. And no offense to you, because you're a TNA guy, we'll get a lot of TNA-ish. Where it's like, man, dude, I appreciate it so much more now. But back then I was like, bro, I can't get through a show. And it's like you appreciate the matches, but it's like as far as I'm watching a show from start to finish, I'm not going to sit through a whole show to figure it out. Like I won't watch AEW. I'll see the matchups and wait until the show is over with and say, let me go back and watch that match. Because I'm not going to sit through the entire show just to get to that one segment or that one match, so on and so forth. But yeah, man, this is let me get to my WWE list. It's getting late. I know I got booted out, but this is my list of AEW guys to go to WWE. Wardlow when he grows back a ponytail, because he looks better with a ponytail.
Ponytail.
Yeah, man, he's just I'll try to adjust to it. I don't like it anymore. Grow the ponytail back. The Gun Club, Austin and Colton Gunn. I think you talking about the school of Shawn Michaels, man. I think they would grossly benefit the most. All Ego Ethan Page. I'm not letting this one go. If he ever gets his physique looking good, man, his personality, oh man, I think he has a chance to be a player. Like maybe not the main event guy right now, but I'm telling you, that guy can talk, he can work, he can do a little bit of everything. I'm all in on All Ego Ethan Page. Kenny Omega. I mean, listen, the clock's running out, man. Like you might as well don't go when it's too late. Don't pull a Sting. And Jay Cargill. I want Jay Cargill to be like the evil version of Bianca Belair. Like I want her to bring out the worst in Bianca Belair. Like Bianca Belair's trying to be civilized. She's trying to be civilized. She's trying to be a role model. This is how you can kind of semi-turn her heel, where it's like it's not a full heel turn because she's a bad guy, but it's almost like a heel turn where you're not being yourself. It's because this person has you off your rocker. You know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of like what they're kind of alluding to now, where it's like she's starting to be more snippy, she's being more violent, and it's like, oh, this is like a little.
See her new shirt? Did you see her shirt?
No, I didn't.
Okay, continue. Finish your list.
So no, that's it. That's my 5.
That was 5?
Yeah, it was Wardlow, the Gun Club, Ethan Page,
the Gun Club,
Kenny Omega, and Jade Cargill. I think Jade Cargill is obvious. Like she needs she needs reps. Like you said, Charlotte Flair, she will go over there and do a bunch of nothing in freaking AEW because she got all new girls. Charlotte Flair is who she is because the four horsewomen made a goddamn name for themselves, and they were all on the same level. And then they became the guardians at the door, where women's wrestling had to go through them. Like Paige had gotten hurt, she was out. Alicia Fox and them were starting to wind down. You know what I mean? Like they're the ones who established, no, this is what a top superstar is supposed to be in this business. The Oscars of the world, and like you don't have that in AEW right now. You have all fresh faces and a couple of like one or two established names. Britt Baker's doing her thing. You have Saraya, but she can only do but so much. You know what I mean? And it's like, and you have all new faces, and it's like, well, who's going to help establish these new faces? Like, who cares about Zoe Starks that she doesn't feud with Becky Lynch and she doesn't take the side of Trish Stratus? Like everyone in the world knows who the heck Zoe Starks is now. Why? It's the association. Like that's why Trish is older. She's not taking all the bumps because she has a heater now. She's got the muscle.
Got ragdolled on Monday.
Yeah, a little bit, real bad.
Trying to get Raquel over.
Same thing. Once again, like you care about what's going on, and you care about the fact that Raquel lost because of Becky Lynch. If it was anybody else, would it make a difference? But it's like, oh, what if it was what's the girl with the green hair name? Was
Shotzi
Blackheart. What if she calls her to lose? You like, oh, okay, cool. Another new girl calls her to lose. It wouldn't carry the same weight. Becky Lynch calls her. First of all, Becky Lynch is Becky Lynch. Second of all, she's already in the match, and she calls her like she's looking like, you cost me an opportunity, and she's like, look, man, it wasn't my fault. I'm sorry. I got pissed off. But see, now you have a dynamic that's there. And you're like, uh-oh. I got eyes on Raquel Rodriguez because I'm like, what's going to happen next? Is she going to get mad? Because technically, Becky Lynch's fault. But I'm like, I don't think Becky did it on purpose. So there's all these dynamics that you can say, okay, let me see what's going to happen next. But if it was Shotzi Blackheart, or somebody new, I'm just being honest with you, it wouldn't have had the same effect to, at least not for me as a fan.
You wouldn't care. Like, all right, she's wrestling next week.
Yeah, it's like, and I think AEW has that issue. They don't have established brands to work with all these new faces. You need established brands to make new faces. That's the lifeblood of professional wrestling. It's not too many places. Like we watched AJ made a name for himself because of Jeff Jarrett. Their feud. Like AJ was considered a cruiserweight everywhere else. He was treated like a main event player in Orlando and in Nashville. And sometimes he will win, and his reigns were never long. Jeff Jarrett will find a way to beat him back, get that strap around his waist. And then he had to go through freaking Monty Brown, and then you had guys like Sting come in, and then he would go back and forth. But it was those early matchups. AJ Styles versus freaking Jeff Hardy. You know what I mean? He was a big deal because Jeff Hardy was an established brand. Like I remember watching TNA, like, oh crap, it's Jeff Hardy, and he was Jeff Hardy still. And I saw him on a smaller platform. And I'm like, yo. What is he doing? Like, who's this? And then, first of all, you seen AJ Styles for the first and second time. You're like, who the heck is this dude? You know what I mean? He going toe to toe with Jeff Hardy, him versus Sean Waltman. I'm like, dude, it's X-Pac. Like, what the heck? Like, I'm watching him. Like, who's like, and they're in the main event. That's not the European Championship or the opening match. It's like, I like seeing those guys like the Sean Waltmans and the Jeff Hardys in those main events carrying the shows. And I was like, bro, that's why I like these smaller situations, and you saw it with TNA.
Society X.
Wrestling Society X. Sean Whiteman was on that.
But they exploded and everything.
I was the only one that liked it. I enjoyed it. Nobody else liked Society X. I got a kick out of it.
That thing was. Ooh.
I want to watch reruns.
You know the crazy part? If that would have been around now, it would have been a cinematic universe for that.
They have the technology to pull it off now. You know what it reminds me of?
We have everything now.
We had something similar to it.
Matches we got.
We had something similar to it. We had Lucha Underground was very similar to Wrestling Society X. Half soap opera, half wrestling show. Yep. Like most people don't remember that EO Sky was on Lucha Underground.
Is that why she got the pop in Puerto Rico? Exactly.
I didn't realize that until after the fact. Somebody said, "Oh yeah, she was the staple in Lucha Under her versus freaking Pentagon was having intergender matches." Because that's why I used to see Pentagon all the time. Was his stuff from Lucha? Like I didn't watch Lucha Underground, but it was always everywhere. Johnny Mundo or Johnny Underground, whatever he called himself at the moment.
Johnny, whatever.
Swerve and Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet was Prince Puma.
Yeah,
he was one of the, right? Yep, he was one of the last guys on the Indies that was like, yo, they got everybody else. Who else are they going to get? He was one of the last guys to get
there too.
Yep. Like Ricochet was one of the last guys from the Indies and he became like immediately one of the most popular guys at NXT off breaks.
Yeah.
But that's the Triple H effect. But we're running late. We have some technical difficulties, and I guess it's time for us to wrap this up. But gentlemen, good list. This was fun. We got to have more of these conversations. But this was good, man. And I like it because we all came from 3 different perspectives, and we didn't really agree on these things. But you know what I mean?
We did on Jay Cargill.
Right.
Jay Cargill. I think that's the one thing we all did.
Everybody ready.
WWE.
Yeah, we all did. And
bypass the. It's like bypass the women's title, go straight to WWE.
Yeah, just let it go. Just let it go. Just go straight to the.
You think she'll come to WWE or she gonna stay in AEW?
She going to WWE, bro. Charlotte Flair, like, hey, you ready? Let's work. Come on now.
They're always looking for new dance partners, man.
Bingo. And you don't think her and Bianca, like, they can make money inside the ring together as adversaries. They can make money hitting these media appearances. Like,
but see, I think you keep them away from each other at first, so they can both do the same thing on different shows.
But you could.
There you go.
Remember, Jay was in the Performance Center. You know, it's just like she benefited, you know, getting fast tracked because she would have probably just been honestly like Last Legend, you know, but she went over there and, you know, Last Legend getting started now, but
remember they tried to do like a little show with her, try to make her like a little socialite.
That was horrible.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well.
That was the old NXT. You know, I'm glad they sent her back down the next. I think she got hurt, or maybe she didn't, but they sent her to the next level. You know, just like wait till Nakia.
I thought it was level up.
Well, yeah, level
he
up.
Said next level. It should be called NXT level up.
Yeah, but they sent her there. She came back, and now she's in a solid tag team. Wait till Nakia Lyons get back. I know she was hurt.
Same way.
You know, she's somebody. She's marketable. You know, she's funny. She got charisma. Man.
And Nakia Lyons has her social media, so that's why I said she gonna be fast. See if she come back.
Now we definitely. Shawn Michaels will be like, "See, you know, I think what we could do here is we can bring you up, and we got some plans for you. And we'll put the belt on you, and then send you away. So hopefully, Hunter won't take you so fast from me."
Yeah, that's how Shawn Michaels talks now. But it's not above superstars to go looking for new talent to work with.
Exactly,
because not Triple H. Undertaker did the same thing with Kane.
Yep, Shawn Michaels with Diesel.
Yep, same. Shawn Michaels with and then actually Undertaker did it twice. He did the same thing with Batista. I didn't realize that he went down there and he worked with the Demon Deacon or whatever he was calling himself, freaking Deacon. And he was like, "Look, man, get yourself together, man. We might be able to make some money." Like I didn't know, like this is stuff we find out through like A&E biography and all these things. But I didn't realize that, you know, he was going down there like looking for the next person, because at the end of the day, it's like, yo, we need to make money.
Same way broadcasters do it, the same way athletes do it. You know, it's the same thing that happened in wrestling. And it's the same thing in Fortune 500 companies. You go somewhere, you go to a conference, you vibe with somebody. Yo, we can make some money together. Why don't you come work for my company? Come work for me over here. You know, I've seen it.
There's always a chase for new talent, you know, at the end of the day, because that's the lifeblood of your company. It's always got to bring in new, fresh faces. But
real quick, brothers, before we end, what's your Forbidden Door? What's going to be your main event? What's your pick?
Man, I'm over it.
I'm just saying, what match do you?
I don't know what happened tonight. I don't
even know, bro.
Like, I didn't watch tonight, but I'm just saying, I wonder what's going to be the main event.
Okada Bryan.
No, shoot.
Just make that my main event.
That's what I'm saying too. So me and Brian thinking Okada Bryan.
Probably. You probably, because I was gonna say Kenny Omega Willow Spray, but I'm like, I don't know if Kenny Omega is really 100% healthy.
I think they're gonna open the show.
Yeah, that's I would do that.
Away from each other. You got to keep Willow Spray and away from Okada and Bryan. They can't be close to the card. No,
you're right. Yep, they got to do it that way. I'm going with Okada and Bryan. That's gonna be vicious. I just hope Dave Ryan doesn't kill himself, man. He's just.
No, I'm so happy he's been in this bubble and just been sitting at the announce table, haven't been doing anything, so he can make it to Sunday.
Yeah, there you go. But man, and I hope CM Punk just stays home. It's like, no.
Yes, 100%. What you on that one?
I like CM Punk merchandise. I need stuff, but just not him wrestling, especially in them long tights.
Would you stop?
Not giving him a break.
Yo, did y'all see this Twitter account? I forgot the name of it, but it's like they did like Gorilla Monsoon would have had a podcast, and like every couple of days they'll post stuff in the morning, like, and it's somebody imitating Gorilla Monsoon, but they
Wow.
like having a podcast. It's the funniest thing.
Gotta see it. I've just sent a link in the chat. I've never even seen it.
Yeah, I gotta find that joint.
Oh, Bianca Belair's shirt says "girl."
Yeah, I seen
Wow.
that.
That's funny.
I think didn't she have an NXT or something similar to it? Didn't she?
I believe she did.
Yeah, she's slowly. I don't think she's gonna turn heel. She's gonna get a little edge to her.
No, it's like a face heel turn. It's
Yo,
like,
who's gonna be the person to cater to little girls if she turns heel? Liv is out, right?
I mean, it'll. Yeah.
No, I don't think she's gonna have a little edge. I think when her, Charlotte, and Asuka have their triple threat match at SummerSlam, it's gonna have that Becky Lynch effect. We're happy that you're trying to have an edge, but we don't want you to. We don't want you to be. We're not gonna boo you.
Yeah, probably. She's too fly.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, I think we ran out of gas. You can follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Wrealm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at The Wrestling Wrealm. Gentlemen, another successful show in the books. We did it. We made it through. We got this done. There it is. That's right. Give myself a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, join us next week as we return and we preview Money in the Bank. I think that's the last. Just there, brother Brandon, just pointing to my title. It was hijacked. I plan on getting it back sooner rather than later.
You had a whole belt reveal though.
Yeah, he did on his show. Look at that. Nate's turned the camera. I'm not putting up with this. That's the last thing that you guys will see, man. We out of here. Peace. Look at him. It's terrible. Give me my belt back.
Houston, we have a problem.